Hello everyone and welcome to the start of the Silver Showcase. It's the beginning of 4 days of $1 million magic. Welcome to Minneapolis, United States of America, your home for gaming over the next 4 days. I'm your host, Rich Hagan, alongside Maria Bartholdi and Pro Tour champion Simon Gertzen. We couldn't squeeze all the goodness in to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so we're right here for 2 to 3 hours of live gaming action for you here as Magic's birthday. Happy birthday, Magic. 25 years of glorious top decks, absurd cards, wondrous friendships, and so much joy and laughter along the way. Plus a little bit of heartbreak. We'll bring you all of that over the next 4 days of gaming. So, what are you looking forward to, Maria?
Well, I don't know about you, Rich, but I want to see some people crack some power over there.
Okay, I think we can maybe arrange that for you, although it will be unarranged. Simon, how about you?
I've been following the Pro Tour for so many years, and this weekend is something that I've never seen in person or from home. It's just going to be amazing.
Okay, now the format, it's got the word draft in it, which many of you have played before with your booster drafts, but this is Rochester draft, and it is very, very different. Simon, what is Rochester?
Rochester is a limited variant where we have 8 players sitting around the table, but that's where basically the similarity to booster draft stops, because instead of 8 players opening their packs simultaneously, the packs are actually opened one by one, and the contents of the full pack are being laid out on the table for everyone to see. And then you go around the table and back, we call that the wheel, and everybody gets to pick a card openly.
So, Maria, we can see on screen the Silver Showcase schedule, which is a bit of a mouthful, and we're spreading it right the way across our weekend of $1 Million Magic.
That's right. Today we're going to get a chance to see that Rochester draft. The quarterfinals are coming up tomorrow after round 7, the semifinals Saturday after the top 4 announcement, and the finals will be on Sunday morning before the top 8.
Well, one thing that both Booster Draft and Rochester Draft have in common is 8 players, and we've got an incredible lineup. We'll show you the 8 who are going to do battle. Along the top row there, you've got the 4 all-time Pro Point leaders within their region. So that's Levy and Nakamura, DeRosa and Finkel from around the world. And then 4 gaming greats from around the gaming pantheon on the bottom. Kibler, Amaz, Jason Chan, Stanislav Sivka of the Czech Republic, and David Williams. We'll hear much more about our magical 8 in just a little bit. What about the bracket though? Because we're already essentially in the top 8. So we have a top 8 bracket to show you. And here it is. The quarterfinals will see Jason Chan against David Williams, Paula Vita Dama DeRosa against Brian Kibler in a Pro Tour final rerun, no less. 2 more Magic Hall of Famers in John Finkel and Rafael Levy going at it, and the brackets rounded out by Stanislav Sivka against Shuhei Nakamura. Now, I mentioned the Magic the Gathering Pro Tour Hall of Fame. There are plenty of Hall of Famers in this Elite 8. Why don't we have a little chat with 2 of them ahead of the Silver Showcase? Okay, so we'll try and sort that out for you in terms of audio for you. But what we can talk about, it's worth bearing in mind that when you see these players draft, every card that's drafted is going to go to charity, to a children's charity called Child's Play, and they do great work. Basically, they put Xboxes and toys and games and books and cuddly toys into children's hospitals all around the world. It's a great cause, Maria.
Absolutely. I mean, playing with Magic cards is been one of the highlights of my life, so the more people can play, the better.
Yeah, so that's where all the cards are going. So if you see a card and you think, surely everyone would want that in their collection, sure, but all the cards are going to charity. There's going to be a charity auction at the end of the year, and that's how that's going to work. So Child's Play will benefit, but as part of $1 Million Magic, this is not just an exhibition. The winner here, $35,000 US, $25,000 for second. The semi-finalists who play on Saturday, if they lose, they'll still be getting $20,000 US. And just for sitting down and getting to do this, $12,500 to the quarter finalists. So what are these sets that we're dealing with? It's from the very beginnings of the game. And our first pack that the players are going to open is limited edition beta. Maria, Simon.
All right, so let's take a look at some cards that are kind of iconic from beta here, Simon. What are we looking at? Obviously, some of the best that's ever been printed.
We are looking at the Power 9. We are looking at Moxes. We are looking at Black Lotus, Ancestral Recall. And these cards are, well, if you hear Magic the Gathering, these are the cards you think of.
Have you ever forced an opponent to draw 3 cards with an Ancestral Recall, Simon? I don't feel that's a mode that's regularly employed.
I don't think I have, no. I prefer to draw cards myself.
Okay, so the first pack is beta. And at the end of that, and that's all 8 players at the table, will open one of those. So we've actually got a pretty reasonable shot, Simon, at a card like a Mox Emerald or a Mox Pearl or a Black Lotus. And indeed, if you've been following along the birthday celebrations, you will have seen someone actually opened a Black Lotus at GP Chiba. It was like, yes, the crowning moment of that series of GPs. But then we move on to pack 2, or essentially packs 9 through 16. And for that, it's Legends, Maria.
Okay, so here we go, Legends, and the name says it all, really. It's the first gold cards in the game, and some really iconic cards as well. There's Chromium right there, getting a reprint now in M19, Simon.
Reprint, yeah.
Quote unquote.
The Elder Dragon Legends, the cycle of 5, of course, they spawned the Commander format, or at least the Commander format was named after them. Legends has a lot of these cards which are so iconic that you still recognize them from today. I mean, Mana Drain, another one of these cards, strictly better than Counterspell now that Mana Burn is not a thing anymore.
There's something pretty fantastic as we stay looking at Legends here. A card like Chains of Mephistopheles, because in those early days of Magic, there was no group culture of understanding what cards did. And frequently, indeed, half the idea from Richard Garfield originally was that you would sit down and play with cards you had never seen before. So you get these things like, every time a player draws a card, that player must first discard a card from his or her hand. If there are no cards in player's hand, take top card from library and place it in the graveyard instead of drawing. This enchantment does not apply to the first card drawn by a player during the draw phase.
And the funny thing is, Rich, these cards are so complex that even the modern Oracle texts are like 7-8 lines long, because it's just so difficult to put it into a modern wording, what some of these cards do.
Yeah, the fonts have got a little larger as Magic has gone on, for sure. So pack 2 is Legends. Now, pack 3, we had to cheat a little bit, because it turns out that Arabian Nights and Antiquities both came in boosters of 8 cards, not 15. So we're kind of drilling them together, and we're going to have 8 cards of Arabian Nights, 8 cards of Antiquities in the same, as it were, virtual booster for our players in the Silver Showcase.
All of these sets are pre-limited. This is before limited as a format was designed and officially supported.
Right, not just Rochester draft, but any kind of draft. Okay, so what have we got in Arabian Nights, Maria?
Oh, so Arabian Nights was essentially the first expansion from Magic, and Richard Garfield's favorite card there, we see it right there, Scheherazade. I'm hoping for a sub-game, Simon.
Well, I don't, but we might see all kinds of crazy things going on. I think that the judges will have a field day, because some of these cards and interactions, you've literally never seen them at the premier event stage.
I sat down for my first Pro Tour registration day, and everyone was just playing against casual strangers, and a fantastic player said, "Would you like a game?" I went, "Yeah, fantastic, lovely," and turned to Scheherazade And then I just played any number of sub-games, and I was there for about 2 hours playing this one game of Magic the Gathering. So one of my favorite cards as well. Urnham Djinn there, Juzam Djinn, a fantastic card. And Aladdin's Ring, and you see also, Simon, like we've got the 9th edition version there. So many of these cards have been smattered and reinserted into Magic history over the years.
Yeah, they have been in the pool of reprintable cards for a very long time, of course, and arguably much worse in 9th edition than it was when it came out, because we will look at a format that is actually not very high powered, despite some of these insanely powerful cards like Ancestral Recall. We are looking at especially creatures being a lot weaker. So Aladdin's Ring might actually be a valid win condition.
Okay, so Maria, we've looked at Arabian Nights in the same pack as we were arranging
Right.
it, Antiquities. So what's that about?
All right, so artifacts matter in Antiquities, and here we get some of the most famous cards that are used today in Modern. Why, hello, Urza's Tower, this is where you came from. An Armageddon Clock in here, as well as Atog, that's a pretty famous card as well, Simon.
3 of these 4 cards are constructed powerhouses, I would say. Urzatron in Modern, Atog not so much anymore, but it used to be a key card in Affinity decks. And then Mishra's Workshop, we all know what that can do in Vintage.
And Armageddon Clock is kind of a unique card. Why did you choose this card?
I just like the design. It's such a top-down card where you say, what would be an artifact with a symmetric effect that somehow makes the game end at some point? And then you get Armageddon Clock, just invest 6 mana into your artifact, and it'll surely kill somebody at some point.
All right, so that's Antiquities. Then we're going to go back to Beta. So pack 4 for all our players is Beta, and you've chosen some different cards this time.
Yeah, these are kind of your more powerful picks, cards that can really win the game. So talk a little bit about these, Simon.
Yeah, I've mentioned already that the creatures are generally not very strong, so you have to look at the rares to actually get power like Shivan Dragon or Force of Nature, and even paying an upkeep cost of 4 green is worth getting an 8/8 trample that's just difficult to find. Fireball is amazing in a format with so many small creatures, and sometimes you just keep it to burn your opponent out.
Okay, and our very last pack, pack 5, it's Beta once again. Yeah, you've had some fun with this lot, haven't you?
Yeah, this is kind of the wacky or weird cards from Beta, and Chaos Orb is a favorite of a lot of people, I know.
I mean, the thing is, probably half of the cards we could choose for being funny or weird, because that's just how the set was made back in the day. I mean, Chaos Orb is just amazing because you need this dexterity aspect, which is, of course, not part of the game anymore. My favorite is Illusionary Mask, another one of these cards with 7 or 8 lines of text. I just know that this was a constructed, playable card at some point. People morphing in dreadnoughts and other creatures for 1 mana. It was just absolute craziness.
Absolute craziness is what we're all about here on the 25th anniversary of Magic. $1 Million Magic starts right now with the draft of the Silver Showcase.
Hello there, welcome out to the booth here at the Silver Showcase. That's Brian David Marshall, Paul Chian, and I'm Marshall Sutcliffe, and we are bursting with excitement to bring you this unique and awesome event. Down in the feature match area right now is our own Riley Knight, here to set the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Silver Showcase here at Pro Tour 25th Anniversary, coming to you live from Minneapolis, USA. A galaxy of all-stars are out tonight to play with some of the most storied and iconic cards in the history of Magic the Gathering. Let's get this showcase on the road. One of Europe's most dedicated and recognizable players. Our first competitor has played in more Pro Tours than any other player in history, with 3 Pro Tour top 8s and an incredible 22 Grand Prix top 8s. 6 of them wins. This man captained the victorious French team at the 2013 World Magic Cup. A member of the Pro Tour Hall of Fame for well over a decade. He's also a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and a proud father. It's the bruiser from Toulouse, Rafael Levy. And now, a true gaming jack of all trades and master of many. This man is not only an extremely accomplished professional poker player with a World Series bracelet and a World Poker Tour title, he was also a finalist of Season 7 of US MasterChef with a Pro Tour Top 8, 10 Grand Prix Top 8s, and 3 Grand Prix titles. This man is now a dedicated full-time father from Las Vegas, USA, David Williams. Our next competitor is a man of incomparable fame within the gaming industry. As a designer, he has worked on successful board games, card games, and video games. As a player, he has 5 Pro Tour Top 8s, including 2 wins, and was inducted into the Pro Tour Hall of Fame in 2010. With over 400,000 YouTube subscribers, he's also a popular streamer and commentator for Hearthstone's competitive circuit. And today, he returns to his roots to play some old school Magic. From San Diego, USA, it's the Dragon Master Brian Kibler. And now, one of the most hardworking and talented people in gaming. Not only did he earn the title of FIDE Master from the World Chess Federation when he was just 16 years of age, and not only did he lead the Czech team to victory at the 2017 Hearthstone Global Games, this man has also appeared in 2 Pro Tour Top 8s, famously winning Pro Tour Return to Ravnica in 2012. All the way from Prague in the Czech Republic, it's Stanislav Sivko! Our next competitor is amongst the most prolific and successful players in the history of Magic the Gathering, backing up his incredible 6 Pro Tour Top 8s with a staggering 29 Grand Prix Top 8s. He is tied for the lifetime record of Grand Prix wins with a grand total of 7 victories. A member of the Pro Tour Hall of Fame, he's the only Magic player in history to win a Grand Prix in North America, Latin America, Europe, and Asia Pacific. It's the rocker from Osaka, Shuhei Nakamura! Our next competitor is one of the most celebrated and decorated players in the history of the game, having won almost $500,000 in prize money throughout a blindingly brilliant career. With 13 Pro Tour Top 8s, in 2 of which he emerged victorious, this man was one of the youngest players ever to be inducted into the Pro Tour Hall of Fame. A long-time content creator for Channel Fireball, he's the only South American ever to be named the Player of the Year. From Porto Alegre, it's the Brazilian superstar, Paulo Vitor Dama da Rosa! And now, one of the most popular and successful gaming personalities on the face of the earth, with almost 900,000 Twitch followers and 500,000 YouTube subscribers. You'll find him playing all kinds of card games on Twitch, often foregoing so-called necessities such as food and sleep, so he can continue to rack up those drafts. He started playing Magic with the release of Magic Origins. You probably know him as Maz from Hong Kong. It's Jason Chan! And finally, ladies and gentlemen, a colossus, a titan, a legend of the game with a record-setting 16 Pro Tour top 8s, 3 of them wins. This man was inducted into the Pro Tour Hall of Fame the minute it was created, winning over $400,000 in prize money. He has raised thousands more through his foundation, Gamers Helping Gamers, and currently represents the Ultimate Guard Pro team in today's Pro Tours. From New York, New York, you all know who it is. It's the greatest of all time, Johnny Magic John Finkel. The stage is set. Our champions are assembled. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to Rochester!
All right, and we are underway here at the Silver Showcase. So let's talk for a minute, gentlemen, about how this is actually going to get going. As we see, there are cards now being shown by our tournament director, Scott Larrabee. He's going to be the one opening the packs. He's got gloves on. We're taking care of each and every one of these icons of our game. And as you can see, we're starting off with our beta pack.
This
and
is
boy,
a lot of
we've
lands.
got a lot of high lands in this one. And this does happen sometimes with beta. They were part of the regular common print runs for each of the colors. Yeah. And you will see them. Looks like a tsunami here.
And this is the reason why we decided to go for more than the traditional 3 packs that we have in normal drafts, because in these beta boosters, oftentimes you're going to have 5 or 6 lands in the drafts, and if you want enough playables, you're going to have to draft lots of
That's right.
a few more packs.
Right, so we're actually going to be drafting a total of 3 beta packs today, as well as the Legends, an Arabian Nights, and an Antiquities. The Arabian Nights and Antiquities are going to be merged together because at the time of those sets printings, they actually only put 8 cards in a booster pack. So we just said, well, we'll make one super booster out of those 2 sets. The others have 15 each, though. And a Gauntlet of Might, a powerful card open. All red creatures get +1/+1, and all mountains tap for double.
Right.
If you end up in red, hey, that's some business.
Yeah, and there are lots of quote-unquote fireball effects. You have Fireball, Disintegrate, and Earthquake in the format. So if you end up close to mono red, this could be the way to kind of use all that extra mana to just burn your opponent out.
Is it crazy that I just want to take Circle of Protection red out of this pack, assuming everybody's going to open up?
You're a little crazy for thinking that. Hey, so BDM, I would venture that most of our viewing audience has never done a Rochester draft before, and many have never even seen one drafted. Can you run through the difference between this and a regular booster as we see hands flying onto the screen and picking cards?
All the picks are made face up. So you know exactly what your first round opponent's going to be drafting. And it's very different, and all the packs are opened up in sequence around the table, whereas 8 packs get opened up at once in a normal booster draft. Everyone makes their picks simultaneously. This is going to be 8 packs opened in sequence here this first time around the table. Everyone will get a chance to make the first pick out of a pack.
Yeah, and this pack went super fast.
It really did. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about is it ended up being John Finkel who had the first pick. Now, it's kind of where you want to be, right?
Well, the thing about being in a Rochester draft is being the first drafter is not always the best thing. Traditionally, you would want to end up in 3rd or 4th position if you were the top seed at, let's say, a PTQ that would have a Rochester draft top 8. If you were the top seed, you would choose to be 3rd or 4th.
And why is that?
Because you really don't want the players, you don't have a lot of ability to control your fate in that first seat. People can sort of bully you out of colors.
And they might do that. Let's take a look at this next pack we've opened. We've got a Prodigal Sorcerer on the top there, so that's nice. Also 2 of the 5 cycle there with the Giant Growth in the middle of the pack. As you can see, there's Plague Rat.
Plague Rat count at
strong.
1.
Plague Rat count at 1. And yeah, Prodigal Sorcerer looks like the clear pick currently. It is the most powerful card in the pack. And now we're getting to the lands here. But if you kind of saw in that first pack, because of all the lands, everybody just kind of had in mind the kind of spells or creatures that they thought were going to be playable. Oftentimes in a beta booster draft, it's going to be a struggle. If you notice, even from this pack, there aren't a lot of good creatures. So it's really important to try to make sure you can round out your deck. And again, this is the reason why we chose to add a few more boosters so that people can actually have enough playables in their deck.
And there's a lot of creatures that have 1 toughness. That Prodigal Sorcerer is, to me, the clear first pick out of this pack.
Right. That is a type of card that you can win a game with. Interestingly, you can actually hit your opponent with it, so it can finish them off. But also, of course, you can manage the board in a very reasonable way.
But here's the problem. At Rochester, you take that Prodigal Sorcerer, the person who's around the table from you knows maybe that you're going to be blue. Something like a Sea Serpent
I thought you were going to say take the island.
Yeah, well,
sea Serpent gets turned on as a live card against your first-round opponent.
Yeah.
right.
So there are a lot of these old school cards that basically had this term that doesn't exist anymore. It's called Island Home, where basically, you see it up on the screen, where if your opponent has an island, you can actually attack with the creature. So if your opponent doesn't have blue in their deck, this is basically just effectively a defender. But if they're playing islands, this actually becomes a very good creature. 6 mana, 5/5 is actually a pretty strong rate for, kind of these older draft formats.
I mean, I would just plan on getting the Phantasmal Terrains to attack with my
build your own island, yeah.
Build your own island.
The interesting thing here as well is that the players are going to be very much scrapping for a much lower bar than we're used to in modern draft formats. Playability, the bar for that is much lower.
The Prodigal Sorcerer there, by the way.
Yeah, that giant growth makes sense. And then I can either see the creature here, but it looks like Dave is just locking in that Dark Ritual.
That's Dave Williams taking the Dark Ritual.
Yeah.
And look at this. Opposite Paulo's Prodigal Sorcerer, that's where the Sea Serpent went.
Yeah,
no, that's great. Because this is a single elimination tournament, you really want to win that first round. So often, I wouldn't even be surprised if I knew I was going to be playing against a blue player. There was a Tsunami in that first pack.
It went.
I would start that Tsunami if my opponent was in blue.
Totally. One of the things to keep in mind here as well, from a big picture perspective on the tournament, is that there's $150,000 in prize money going to these 8 players. And also, another great thing about this is the charity Child's Play is going to be getting the benefit of these cards. They're going to be donating the cards themselves to Child's Play. Yeah. And, that's an awesome thing to do for a really cool charity, too. So, looks like they're cruising right through the pack here once again. This one with only 3 basic lands versus 6 for the other pack. You will see a good amount of variance. The worst case scenario is that there is 1 land on the rare sheet. As it turns out, it's an island, and sometimes you can even get a pack that has that slot as well.
I want to point out something.
Oh, here's the next pack, by the way.
You see that Wheel of Fortune?
That's the button.
That is the button that indicates where the picks end and bounce around, and it was always called the wheel.
Right.
Very nice.
That is the wheel. That is nice.
That's cute. So here's our next pack, by the way, guys. We've got Merfolk of the Pearl Trident and a Circle of Protection red. Dwarven Warriors is playable. There's another healing salve, which we've seen in the first pack as well. Regeneration, interesting. The way that card reads text-wise is not quite accurate. Regenerate target.
You cannot target any creature that you control. It is an enchant creature where the enchanted creature can regenerate. So wow, not a lot of powerful cards in this pack.
Spell Blast,
Wanderlust, Spell Blast. Yeah, definitely.
Orcish Oriflame.
Yeah, this one costs 4. Back in Alpha, it was a little cheaper.
Ooh, there's Karma.
That's a very powerful color hoser.
Another
in
hater.
Karma.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mind Twist hits the table
That's
as well.
The one.
Not only iconic, but very powerful as well. If you're in black or if you're even touching black,
you could just
kill them.
This is just one of the most powerful cards in all of Magic.
Definitely.
This is Stanislav Sivka.
It's also hated.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I play
it's like my deck was awesome.
Yeah, where you're allowed to play this, and you play it against somebody, and their shoulders just slump. They're like, come on, man.
Well, yeah, absolutely. One of the best cards in kind of the cube drafts that people do draft occasionally. And yeah, this is a slam dunk pick, and it's even potentially splashable too.
Yeah, and I think very evocative artwork in terms of how you feel when your opponent casts it against you.
That is literally the pose that you make when your opponent casts it
Yeah,
against
I usually go for more like fetal position on the ground.
Oh, sure,
This
sure,
is maybe like an action shot leading towards that.
Right.
Also, really fun to note here, guys, some of the really iconic names and abilities on cards. You see that card in the middle, Fire Breathing. You know, we just call it that now, right? When a creature has the ability that card grants, we just call it Fire Breathing. And that's why, because that card's called Fire Breathing.
Something to keep an eye out. Jason Chan got that karma. Really interesting to see if his opponent really knows to stay out of black
these
there.
color coders back in the day are just so powerful that I think it's actually worth taking kind of a middle pick. Just because, you know, the chance that your opponent is winning one of those colors, and whenever you draw this card, it can potentially just be game ending.
All right, the lands are left over now. There ended up being 4 in this pack, so they're going to go pretty quickly for
It's
our
a pretty
players.
good pack for only 4 lands.
Yeah,
Right.
Not our best. We only had 3 last time.
Yeah.
So.
You see the players putting the cards already into sleeves as they go.
Also, keep in mind there might be a little additional value taking these really good color hosers because that there are going to be more boosters. There is potential that players might have actually a few more leftover playables because, again, we have 5 boosters that we're drafting out of this time around.
That's right. Not a super exciting pack this time. We've got Invisibility. And there's a Circle of Protection red.
Wow, there's a lot of COP reds.
Yeah.
Not a lot
Not
of
a lot of
fireballs.
fireballs. Yeah.
Monza's Goblin Raiders up at the top is the only creature.
Wow. All right,
That's
this
a
is-
lot of land.
Yeah, this is 5 lands so far.
Yep. And there's another Healing Salve. Boy, red
Wow.
does not look good this draft. Drudge Skeletons, yes.
I feel like we've seen this booster before.
I love this guy.
Wow, Sarah Angel.
There we go.
Talk about iconic. Sarah Angel hits the battlefield in the uncommon slot. Gonna be tough to beat that. One of the best creatures in the set, full stop. There's Lance. And
Last card.
Gaia's Liege.
Gaia's Liege is
Yeah.
a great one too.
Right. And Gaia's Liege, it has power and toughness, star. On defense, its power and toughness is equal to the number of force you control. But on offense, when it attacks, it has power and toughness equal to the number of force your opponents control. But it also has that added ability of turning lands into forests, which can act as a way to kind of either mana screw your opponent and also end the game with Gaia's Liege.
That's right. Slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah, the real question is how confident will the player be that they can be that green? Because, I mean, we're talking about triple green in the cost. And, you know, we've seen some of these drafts go where people were dipping into third color heavily just to try to make playables. Now, we've got more packs here, though. They might be able to fit it in.
I've played this card in limited. Don't do it.
Oh, you don't like it?
You don't like it?
I'm not a big fan of it.
Okay.
I suppose if you're 3 colors especially. And now the other problem here, though, from that perspective, is that we've got a Sarah Angel on the battlefield, which is clearly a great card.
By the way, old
No
days, if you
question.
touch a Magic card during a Rochester draft, you bought it.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah, you couldn't.
You had to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you touch a Magic card, that was your pick.
Yeah, but if you just look at this pack, the power level disparity between Sarah Angel and
Everything else.
everything. For example, let's say you were just drafting this pack and you're like, you get either Sarah Angel or every other card in this pack. I would just take the Sarah Angel.
Yeah.
I
oh,
think
absolutely.
you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. The card is so much better than everything else. And that is one of the things that you see about the older sets is that getting cards that just have base level power and toughness with any ability whatsoever, you're happy about. And Sarah Angel has that in spades. I mean, it has multiple.
It has aged well. Still great and limited. in
Dave
today's
Williams
Magic.
did take the Sarah Angel there.
Yeah.
So Dave, yeah, just kind of like black whitish right now.
Right.
Yeah, Dave has a Dwarven Warriors in his pile. He's got a Burrowing and an Invisibility. I think he's kind of sorting himself out here still.
He's got a Drudge Skeletons. He's got a Dark Ritual as well. Not a lot yet.
Right.
And I think the bulk of the cards that we're going to see, won't come necessarily from these packs. I think the bulk of the cards that'll make people's decks are going to come from the middle packs there.
Yeah. We still have, keep in mind, folks, you see a lot of these packs with, a bunch of lands. You don't see as many playables, but we have many, many more packs to go. So, given the fact that we're drafting with 5 boosters, you know, on average, if you get four and a half playables per pack, you will have a deck.
All right, looks like our next pack is coming out here. Let's see if we can't
Scrib
get something
Sprites.
insane. Scrib Sprites is actually
Evasion.
good, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Evasion is good.
Yeah. Unholy Strength.
Put that on a
Sure.
Scrib Sprites.
Yeah, I like the combo.
Llanowar Elves. Brian Kibler's just called dibs.
Absolutely. He wants
There's
to
a
see
wild
that.
Wild
Growth.
growth. Wow. So this is the green pack. All
Yeah.
very, very solid cards for
That
a green
is
deck.
jump right there. Ironclaw Orcs. That's power and
A
toughness.
staple of the original slide decks.
Right.
There you go. 2/2 for 2.
That was good enough back in the day.
Third land. Ooh, there's a red
Ooh,
elemental
okay.
blast.
A nice color hoser as well. Oh, Ironroot Tree Folk. Now, this is one that really overperformed in the draft in Vegas. Hurricane.
Well, Hurricane
Hurricane
is
is
a
a-
huge card
It's a
here.
way to end games.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Very powerful. Also deals with some of the most annoying threats. Ooh, Living Wall.
The gross-looking living
Yeah,
wall.
that Anson-matic.
Lich.
Lich, the original Lich, which is strangely an enchantment. It's not actually a creature.
Right. Yeah, Lich is a bizarre one. It enters the battlefield. Your life total goes to 0, but you can't lose the game. So here, as you can see on the screen, you lose all your life. If you gain life, you get to draw that many cards. So, and everybody's trying to figure out exactly how this
Yeah.
card
Yeah,
works.
whenever you're dealt damage, you sacrifice that many non-token permanents. If you can't, you lose the game. And when it's put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you lose the game.
Yeah, who
So
did
this sounds like, I mean, and again, this is a card in Dominaria
Yeah.
that we've seen
Lich's
an update of.
yeah.
Lich's Mastery.
Yep.
And there's somebody took a Dark Ritual too, right? So maybe they tried
Dave-
to combo off here.
Yeah, I believe it was Dave Williams.
Turn 2 Dark Ritual Lich. But yeah, as we've seen in a lot of these previous packs, you know, just again, the power level of the creatures aren't as high. So we look at something like Ironroot Treefolk, which would be kind of a laughable common in today's game. But here, I mean, this might have been the first time where somebody's gone, ooh, Ironroot Treefolk.
Totally. Like
Not since Chiba.
And it is interesting because the players really do have to focus on raw power here. A lot of the time you see that Hurricane going,
Yeah.
you know, because it's the most rawly powerful. Now, look, Llanowar Elves is powerful, but we just saw that right there.
Brian Kibler just took
what I
Iron
was
Retreat
talking
Llanowar
about.
Elf.
Do you know how bad that hurt him? That's Kibler, right?
Yeah,
Like-
Shuhei Nakamura just took the living wall.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Ramping is not as important in this format because the power level of the payoffs are just not nearly there anymore.
Right.
So it's just better to just make sure you get those big, expensive green creatures. You want those Ironwood Treefolk, you want those Crawworms.
By the way, John putting together a little red deck here. He just picked up an Ironclaw Orcs to go with his Gauntlet of Might.
Hey, attacking's good.
Mono red. He really wants to pick, open up one of those fireballs that you can get, multiple fireballs that you can actually get in beta.
He interestingly took one of the Circle of Protection reds, BDM.
D-draft.
Yeah.
For protecting himself. Protecting himself.
He's got Fire Breathing and Orcish Oriflame as well, so he does likely he wants to
Fire
go with
breathing is
red.
nice with all that mana you get from the gauntlet.
You guys all know there's no need to sleep them either. We give the island.
And we'll get rid of these last few lands here as the players finish off their draft.
Have we seen any patterns into what order the lands are being drafted in?
Oh,
Here's-
like in
Right.
orders? Islands first. Come on, let's be
Here's
real.
another Scrib Sprite. So we're getting closer and closer to a dead singular vampire.
There's our combo again, by the way.
Right?
Well,
Wow.
okay.
Okay.
Hey, is this
Noticing
very,
similarities.
very similar pack? Oh,
wow.
Is this the exact same pack? It might be. Oh, there's the
Going to finish out the commons.
I got a
Okay.
prediction.
Wow.
Ironclaw works. There it is. All right, there's a land.
where's the Ironroot Treefolk? Is it coming?
Yeah. Okay, an island.
Somebody
Yeah,
just said
someone
where's the
said it was
Treefolk?
Treefolk.
Yeah, I think that might have been it. Like one of those lands was in place of it.
Oh,
Oh,
There it is. There it is.
Hopefully, it's Hurricane again. We have the same pack.
No,
no,
the
no.
uncommons and the rares will probably be different
Yeah,
here.
that card is called Sacrifice.
No, you gain mana. It's not tough
Get a clone there. Oh, and a clone there.
Oh.
Well, there's a clone.
to the casting cost.
The pack was a clone, but so was that. And there's a
Oh,
Goblin.
Goblin King.
The interesting thing about Goblin King is that there's not a lot of support for,
Are
for
Ironclaw
tribal.
orcs?
They are orcs.
They're
They are
orcs, they're not goblins?
No.
All right,
You
just
got
making
Mons'
sure.
Goblin Raiders. But clone in the modern era is a very powerful limited card. Are we interested in it here?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
Because
upside. Right?
Yeah, we're gonna see some big legendary creatures once we get to our Legends pack.
That's
so,
right.
Who doesn't want to copy someone's Nebuchadnezzar?
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where with the clone, like, oftentimes in current limited, you're going to be able to get, a pretty good clone target turns 4 or 5. This is something that probably you're going to have to wait really late for, turn 6 or 7.
Till they
wait
draw their tree folk.
Until they draw their Ironwood Tree Folk, their Craw Worm, or what have you. But still powerful enough, still high enough upside that I think it's still just a very strong pick.
So Conservator goes second pick here. Just damage prevention, living wall. I think Shuhei might be looking to deck his opponents.
He does have a bunch of artifacts.
There's some decent stuff in the Antiquities. Get himself
Right.
a Millstone.
I think
Finkel just got a second Ironclaw Orcs, and he has the makings of a.
Who got it? Did
That
Finkel
was
get it?
Finkel. Yeah. Again, remember he has the Gauntlet of Might.
Why are they letting him take these cards?
Another Llanowar Elves for Paulo Vitor Damarosa there. And Sifka gets the Red Elemental Blast, and I think he's up against Shuhei here. Script Sprites for Williams.
Oh, is it just back-to-back green drafters there, maybe?
Yeah, Levy gets the Wild Growth on the.
They're
I mean, you just got to take that Goblin King out of there. You can't leave that for John, can you?
I don't. It
Yeah.
doesn't do a whole lot, but these other cards, I suppose.
Levy gave John some false hope.
Yeah. Sorry there.
And again, I
I've got
think
to jump in a sacrifice.
if you had more Goblins, I think Goblin King would have gone before Ironclaw Orcs. But
There's just not that many. in the set.
Another interesting thing with Gauntlet of Might specifically is the
That's a tough choice.
it's not one-sided, right? It goes both ways. So you might want to look to be a red player if you're playing against, let's say if it's close, you're like, okay, well maybe I will actually draft red to just kind of help mitigate the fact that I might be playing against this card.
All right, here's our next pack coming in. A couple of lands to kick things off. That's Flight.
That is not Jump.
No,
Yeah, it looks very
similar,
similar.
but that one's a little different. There's a Gray Ogre, yes.
if you've
the
wondered where
original.
that term comes
Yeah,
from,
The OG, a lot of flavor text there. Wall of Wood is
Wood.
next.
Ooh.
Unsummon. Now, that's a little bit of creature interaction that could come in handy. That's
Psychic Venom was a staple of like mid-90s tournament Magic. It wasn't good even then,
Yeah.
but people still played it.
Here's Fear, an Aura. Ooh, there's a War
War-
Mammoth,
yeah.
though.
That thing's a
3/3
beater.
with Trample for 4 is really good stats for this level of set, and there's a blocker.
The brick wall.
Yeah, try getting through this wall of stone, buddy.
Oh, there we
Swords
go.
to Plowshares. Perhaps the best removal spell ever printed.
How
And
about
there we
Death
go.
Grip?
Death Grip is a hateful card against green, and there's a force
Wow.
field
Okay.
to finish things off. So if a creature is going to hit you, you can pay 1 using your force field there, and you only lose 1.
Importantly, a poly artifact,
That's right. You can
which means you could do
multiple
that to
times.
all their creatures.
That's right. Yeah.
There are multiple types of artifacts that you see now. We just see artifact, but poly artifact means you can actually activate the card multiple times, whereas mono artifact is a tap effect. You pay the mana and you tap the artifact for a singular effect, kind of like Icy Manipulator.
What about a continuous artifact, Paul?
I'll give that one to you.
That would be something. That would be something like Gauntlet of Might
That just happens all the time.
Is always happening.
So interesting pack. Swords to Plowshares and maybe Force Field, both popped to mind. And of course, that Mammoth is a big game. As we've noticed, when it comes to power and toughness, there ain't a lot of it around here.
Yeah.
And that's a type of card that can actually start attacking. Looks like Swords to Plowshares, and then the War Mammoth is the follow-up. Remember, any of these players can take the Force Field as it is colorless. It's going to go third here.
Yeah, I imagine it was going to get picked up very, very shortly after those.
Is Finkel going to get that Gray Ogre?
He might take the Wall of Stone. Okay.
He took the Force Field.
Makes sense.
And
Force
Dave
Field is
Williams took it.
fantastic with the Gauntlet, by the way. You just have all that mana to prevent all the damage if your opponent's trying to attack you.
Okay. Also, I love that artwork.
All right.
I know it's not like traditional fantasy art like you might see on some of these cards, but I just think that's really cool.
Dan Frazier had some just really cool-looking cards, and I think was out in front of where illustration was at the time in terms of technique.
He got it.
Yeah, he did.
And a few lands to finish things off here as you see them skip across the screen, and we're going to go to
Our last beta pack
last
before we
one.
move on to
Legends. That's right, Legends. And then we're going to do the combo pack with the Arabian Nights and Antiquities. Ooh,
Great removal. Before
we
people
had
were
a
dying
Source
to
of Plowshare.
Doomsblade.
Yeah, Dice to Doomblade. Well, this one predates that.
Right.
Terror, extremely powerful.
Paralyze, a great removal spell.
Underrated.
I think really underrated card. I think the players who've practiced this format will know that.
They've put that in one of the Masters Edition sets on Magic Online, and I'm like, wait a minute, this card's just good.
Yeah.
Yeah, when, just kind of looking through and we were trying to figure out what the best card or best creatures were in this format, oftentimes we would look at the black box.
Oh, we got a
that's
fireball.
Fireball on the table. That's going to be a tough one to top. Circle of
What about
Protection.
Circle of
Blue's not going to do
Protection?
it. That's not the one. There's another land.
This is
This is
Jason
land number
Chan's
6,
pack.
by the way.
Jason Chan will be passing.
Okay,
Water
that's,
elemental.
Water
big,
Elemental.
that's a big beefy
Yeah,
creature.
5/4 for 5.
Soul Net.
Soul Net. And
What is it?
Oh, illusionary mask.
Illusionary Mask. Okay. That card is nearly impossible to decipher. I suspect that we'll hear Nicolette, our judge, down on the floor reading the Oracle text on that one.
please.
As you can see, they went for the 4-point font on the Illusionary Mask.
What are the colors that that Amaz is currently on?
Let's listen to Nicolette.
If the creature of that spell becomes this, that's not how that works. If the creature of that spell becomes, as it resolves, has not been turned face up, and would assign or deal damage, be dealt damage, or become tapped. Instead, it's turned face up and assigns or deals damage, is dealt damage, or becomes tapped. Activate this ability.
Is there an English version?
Kibler wanted it in English.
Amaz is just like, I'm just going to take this fireball.
It makes your creature into a morph, right?
It does.
You know,
It does.
and that's not entirely true. But if it gets interacted with, then it gets, oh, I know what you are now.
Yeah.
And then there were always some weird corner cases where the creature could be a Sarah Angel and doesn't tap to attack.
Right.
And then gaseous form it. And
The best part about this is the art is perfect for like people trying to figure out what this card does.
That's what you look like
That's
after
what,
reading it?
Yeah, that's what the whole table looked like after the judge read what the card did.
The funny part about this is that good? Is that a card that you want? Is it? I mean, there's Terror and Fireball. I'm assuming that those are going to go well
Stick to
ahead.
Fireball.
Same with Water Elemental. I don't even know if Illusionary Mask is something you're that interested in here.
It would be funny if just one of the more old school pros just snapped it off. Then everybody else in front of him would have been like, "Dang, I probably should have taken
I
it."
should have listened a little harder while Nicolette was reading the card.
Look, nobody's taking it.
Finkel took a Terror there, by the way, to go with his red card so far.
I know some of the players were very keen on black
Oh,
red as the
Kibler.
best color pair.
Kibler with the mask.
He's laughing about it.
Yeah, you see the wheel, and then there are 6 lands left.
All right, it doesn't matter. Just take all the lands. Let's go. Wow. Okay. If Island went last pick there, I would have been a little upset. Not going to lie.
Okay, guys, so what this means is we're wrapping up the beta pack. We've got 2 more beta packs later on, but for now, we're transitioning into a whole new world, Legends. Now, BDM, what can you tell us about Legends as a set, especially for people that haven't played with it or seen it?
Well, Legends was the first set to introduce multicolored cards into Magic. It was very exciting at the time.
Some new rules?
Some new rules regarding Rampage.
Legend.
Right, the idea of a legend creature. There were also some weird bands with legendary.
Yeah, riffs on banding.
Riffs on banding, yeah. But the big selling point for Legends was there's a moss monster.
One thing I will note is you are going to see a lot more creatures.
Yes.
Out of these packs.
There's a Divine Offering, a card that
Red creatures do not shine in this pack.
Crimson Kobold, 0 mana, 0/1.
Yeah, you're hard pressed to add the red common creatures up to get any kind of power.
There's a
2 kobolds.
There's a Dirkwood Boars though. Like seriously, these are already much better.
Right.
Paul.
And there's the Moss Monster as well.
Mm-hmm. That's a 3/6, right?
There's a Boomerang.
Boomerang, a good interactive spell as well. Okay, now there's a glyph.
Yeah, there were a lot of cards. There were no lands in these packs.
There's another glyph.
But there were a lot of glyphs, which kind of feel like lands sometimes.
With walls.
Another solid green creature, a 2/4 Wolverine pack. It's 4 mana and it has Rampage 2.
Land Tax.
Ooh,
That's a
Land
powerful
Tax.
card.
That's an icon.
Card John
Tackle
knows
Maggot.
his way around.
Tackle Maggot.
Oh yeah. Enchant creature, by the way.
Oh, and Hell's Caretaker.
Oh, I loved that card.
Yeah.
So Hell's Caretaker, it's a card that people have gotten a chance to play with, and I think some of the cubes on Magic Online. And you get to sacrifice a creature to return a creature card from your graveyard to play, but only during your upkeep. But can be very powerful if you have some way to, discard cards to your creatures.
It's just a good way to turn your worst creature. At the worst, you can still turn your worst creature into the best creature in your graveyard. And it's especially good with kind of enter the battlefield effects. I know there's not a lot of those here, but it is nice when you can get additional value with the Hell's Caretaker.
So, by the way, Jason Chan had opened that last beta pack. Now he is, we're turning around the direction of the draft, and Jason Chan is also opening this first pack of Legends. And now the pick order will go in the other direction. So John will get the wheel here out of this pack, for example.
Yeah. So
Tackle Mega's sweet too, by the way. It shrinks down their creature by -0/-1 at the beginning of their upkeep, and when their creature dies, it has to go on to another one of their creatures. But if they run out, it goes on your side.
Oh, okay.
Like on you.
So a very slow way to just whittle down all your opponent's creatures.
And it just becomes an enchantment on your side that pings you.
I like this. When in doubt, just take the rare.
Yeah, Jason Chan takes the Hell's Caretaker.
Yeah, it feels like it would be difficult to abuse that card here, but that you could, like you said, get some value out of it. And there's Tackle Mega going second, so a couple of black cards.
Yeah, that was Shuhei Nakamura.
Boy, the green players are going to be happy.
Yeah, can't believe it's a Moss Monster.
There's Moss Monster, there's the 4/4 Dirkwood Boars.
I believe that's been John Kepler's nickname at some point. he likes green so much.
Moss Monster.
I like that.
Yeah, as you can see that there are the back-to-back green drafters as the Dirkwood Boars was taken right after.
There was 3 in a row.
I'm curious what John's going to take here.
He can't lower himself to the kobolds, and
no.
the glyphs aren't even going to get
Kobolds are not making it in.
Yeah, glyphs were a strange cycle. They augment a wall temporarily.
Right.
Yeah.
You get some bonuses if you do the wall thing, but not a. I mean, there is actually a decent amount of walls, but
is that
even
really
then,
what it be?
Right? Exactly.
Yeah. And the kobolds are just...
Kobold or glyph.
So there you get an example of what the glyphs do. Added to your life point total.
It's a cool stab at flavor, right? Like there's this mark on this wall, and when you run into it, something happens. But as far as practicality goes in-game, they're not so good.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we've got here.
Another boomerang.
Another boomerang.
Oh, this is kind of similar.
Pyrotechnics.
Pyrotechnics. There's some fireworks for us. Another glyph.
Yep. AKA a planes.
Indeed.
Another glyph.
Uh-oh. Force
Ooh,
Spike.
get
Iconic
someone.
card, yep.
It's kind of awkward because everybody knows you have the Force Spike.
True, because it's Ratchet. That's interesting. Wolverine
much
pack.
easier to play around.
Tundra Wolves. That's a 1/1 with first strike.
2 mana, 2/1.
Cyclopean Mummy. Yeah, just a good curve creature. I wouldn't be surprised to see.
Ooh, this creature is also quite strong.
Blazing Effigy is a card we were talking about.
That's a weird one, but kind of cool, actually. Does a bunch of damage eventually. Emerald Dragonfly, back when flying was around.
Mana Drain!
Oh, wow.
Look
Baby!
at that one.
Mana Drain hits the battlefield here. Oh, and there's the silhouette.
And Lavinia. Lavinia? Lavinia.
Lavinia.
So it looks to me that Pyrotechnics is likely the most. I mean, it's between the Pyrotechnics and the Mana Drain. At this point, it really comes down to kind of the colors.
Yeah, Legendary Landwalker. You hear them talking about Lavinia there.
The original Legendary Landwalker. And the Blazing Effigy, not the Blazing, the Effigy there is an 0/3 that when it dies, it deals 3 damage to a target creature.
Yeah,
so that's just a very, very good defensive creature.
So 2 GGRR for a 4/4. That's Lavinia. Lavinia Salant?
Right.
Yeah.
Not the Lavinia that we currently know of, which is the Azorius creature. But this is a 4/4 first strike Legendary Landwalker. Oh, but there's the Mana Drain.
Yeah, that's you and Mora. He's been taking the blue cards.
That card's so sweet.
Blue artifacts, but then the Pyrotechnics makes sense. And then the Effigy is pretty decent, but if you're green, you take the Wolverine.
And there's Lavinia. Dave Williams grabs that.
All right, green, and then...
Sefka takes and reads the Blazing Effigy.
Oh, okay. Let me just make sure. Yeah, you don't have to read the rest of the text. It's just a 2-mana 0/3 that when it dies, you can deal 3 damage.
I'm going to guess Cyclopean Mummy here for John. No. Going to take the Dragonfly instead. Maybe thinking about going into green.
Green-red.
Yeah. He does have that terror, too. I was wondering if he would try to be black-red.
And Jason settling into a black-red deck here, maybe. Or maybe, I mean, he did take the Fireball, but he could also easily splash a card like Fireball.
John gets the backdraft.
So Paula Viter gets the Boomerang, and then we kind of have the Dregs to the pack. Though there is actually a creature left there with the Tundra Wolves, but I think we're going to be above 1/1 first strike for 1 level here with the amount of packs that we're going through. Yeah. All right, here's pack number 3 of our Legends.
Kobold.
All right, there's another Moss Monster.
Another monster.
Alabaster Potion. Ooh, the Shulkin Brownie. Which is what I always call Walking Corpse.
Walking Dead is just Drudge Skeletons, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that the first reprint ever?
I don't know.
Functional reprint?
Gaseous
be
form?
Probably, yeah.
Decent way to slow down some of the big green creatures.
I love those vultures. Who's hungry?
6 mana, 4/6, Rampage 1. Legend.
I like it. I'm into it. Spirit Link. Floral Spasm. Yes. That's the only sentient magic
Oh,
card.
Thunder Spirit.
Thunder Spirit is real nice.
That card is
dub for
great.
2/2 flying first striker.
Yeah, I can tell you one of the hallmarks of these old limited formats was one
Read that.
flyer getting through.
Floral Spasm attacks an opponent and is not blocked. Then Floral Spasm may choose to destroy target artifact under that opponent's control.
It was the first sentient magic card.
It's not up to you, BDM. It's up to the Floral Spasm. You let him decide what he wants to do.
It's like it's your choice, man.
I don't know how the card communicates the decision, but
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that guy, very independent.
Right.
There you see the players all huddling over to read the spasm.
Currently pretty good against Shuhei's deck, as he does have multiple artifacts in his deck.
He can just block with his living wall.
That's true.
Kibler takes the Moss Monster first pick there.
Kibler's got a multitude of giant green creatures that cost 5 mana.
I mean, it was a legitimate thing back then to just play a lot of big dumb creatures, stall the game out, and play 42 cards and just run your opponent out of cards. That was like a real thing.
Chat says that Floral Spasm is a real breakthrough in artificial intelligence. Turns out 1994 is when we created the singularity.
Mahold Elves Dragon goes there.
So Shuhei locking in the blue cards.
And the vultures, too?
The vultures.
And John still avoiding the kobolds.
He's like, I'm like red, but John hasn't really been able to pick up many red creatures, actually, right? He got a couple of those Ironclaw orcs, but beyond that, it didn't see too much.
No, and this is pretty typical, I think, right? I mean, with such a hostile environment for Rochester, where people just they're cutting you, right?
You have the least opportunity to defend yourself as the first drafter. All right, there's a Lost Soul. Wall of Wonder.
There's also a guy who doesn't care about
Another Moss Monster for Kibler.
3 for 3 on Moss Monsters.
Another Divine Offering. The Moss Monsters, though, are starting to add up in a pretty meaningful way here. There's a Pit Scorpion.
Which gives you a poison count. Poison counters.
It does, yeah. Alternate win condition acquired. Another Kobolds. There's
Interestingly,
another
works
Darkwood
differently
Board.
than Infect works.
Okay,
In
it's
modern
the original Infect.
If the creature gets through, it just
You get
does,
one.
doesn't matter even if you giant growthed it.
Yeah.
Right.
You would only get one. More kobolds. You can see how difficult it is to get power in your red creatures.
Right.
There's mana fixing.
Yeah? Filter it out a little bit?
That's a 7 mana 6/4 vanilla legend.
Wall of Dust. That is an Unholy Citadel. Bands with other legends.
Oh!
Chromium! Nice!
Does it have flash?
The old
doesn't have flash.
it doesn't have. Interestingly, it
It does have
no way,
it does have an upkeep.
It has
Right.
no way to protect itself.
Right.
But you do have to pay for it. Again, it costs 8 mana to get on the battlefield, including 2 mana of 3 different colors. But it is 7/7 flying, and then it has Rampage 2,
Which is probably never going to happen.
doesn't
Really.
come up that often.
So that means
would
for every
think.
creature that blocks it after the first creature blocking it, it gets +2/+2.
Yeah, but like, how are you realistically putting? Well, so you need to be putting
If you have-
9.
If you have
power
2
to
Sarah
make that
Angels in
relevant.
play, you cannot double block to get rid of it.
That's right. There
Right.
it is.
Then you get to look at Chromium the Mutable.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's still just a gigantic flyer, and I don't know what the mana fixing looks like. It doesn't look like there's a lot, so it seems pretty difficult to fit it into your deck. But if you can cast it, it is going to just end the game. But I mean, you know, this is why you see a lot of players looking to be green, because at the end of the day, a lot of these green creatures are just giant. And a lot of colors don't even have access to good creatures. So just taking a Dirkwood, like just having mono Dirkwood boars in your deck might just be a totally fine strategy.
John has clearly moved into green
Oh, yeah?
with that Dirkwood Boars. And I think he and Jason might be fighting over green.
That means there's potentially up to 5 green drafters at this table.
Look, if you want the power and toughness, you know where to go.
And again, the clocks in this format, other than of the Armageddon variety, don't tick very quickly.
Right.
So you are, even though there's not a lot of good mana fixing, you are able to be a little loose with your
And there's
mana base.
and there's also a lot of good defensive creatures. As you can see, walls were kind of pushed early on. A lot of good defensive creatures, like you saw the Drudge Skeletons too, along with the Living Dead. Just lots of ways to just kind of muck up the ground and block.
Really interesting to see the players shift their priorities as far as what they want in the draft. You know, in a modern era draft format, I want to use up pretty much all my mana every turn for about as long as I can. Like, that's a goal of mine. And here it's completely shifted towards what's the most powerful thing I could do at any point during the course of this game, because you're not going to be pressured, you know, meaningfully.
I would say what you want to do is live long enough
Yeah.
to get to the most powerful thing you've drafted.
Like, I want to turn my deck over and fan it out and have you do the same, and me be like, I have 5 creatures with more than 4 power. Like, you're not winning this game.
Yeah. But, you know, as you already saw, there's just a lot of good defensive creatures. And if you notice, there's actually just not a lot of evasion. There's not a lot of flying, and there's really not a ton of reach either. So evasion is super important. So, you know, we looked at that card, like Script Sprites. I can see Script Sprites just kind of going the distance. You know, you put an Unholy Strength on there, it can just end games.
Thunder Spirit, an excellent creature.
Yeah, and think about the removal that we've seen. While there's been some highlights, Sword to Plowshares, Fireball, Terror, there's not a lot. Right? We've seen probably 6 pieces of, like, okay, great level removal.
The players are perusing their decks here. Not sure what's going on.
Looks like they're reviewing their picks.
We have a little bit of a bio break on the floor, it sounds like. I can tell you that John Finkel is playing in this event and is doing so he's not shaking anybody's hands. He's not, you know, he's being pretty careful. He hasn't felt great for the past couple days. He's been struggling with, you know, really took all of his energy just to be here today.
Wow.
So.
Oh, is this just going to be the flu draft that we're going to do?
Well, fortunately, you're not passing the packs around the table. You only touch your cards.
Yeah. I mean, just to prove that he is the greatest of all time, just win this draft.
Yeah. Shuhei Nakamura taking this time to read Tackle Maggot.
It's like, I took it, I think it was good, but let me just read the rest of this card.
And then you see players sorting their cards. Yeah, it's a solid card.
Right.
Certainly great against one of those evasion. You know, those you talked about that idea about evasion creatures.
Right.
You know, get it on a Script Sprite. It moves onto another flyer. It's you know, it can do some work.
Honestly, it is fantastic if you just also have a deck with a bunch of blockers. So like you put that on one of their creatures, and then you just have a bunch of walls, like a living wall, and at some point that creature is just going to die, and then it's just going to jump onto another creature. So it can just slowly just whittle down an entire army.
And that is living wall is a card in Shuhei's pool right now. By the way, he also has Mana Drain and Spell Blast.
Nice.
So he has two
Ooh,
counter
Mono,
spells right now.
Some blue control there. Maybe he's the one who's looking to get one of those millstones that might be opened at some point.
All right, we've got our next Legends pack being opened.
There's that Clergy of the Holy Nimbus.
Yeah, 1 white, white, 2, 3.
That there's Keepers of the Faith and then
Keepers of
Vampire
the Faith,
Bat.
sorry.
Oh, and another Pyrotechnics.
Ooh.
Probably one of the best cards in the set for limited.
Holy Day. Hornet Cobra, that's about the scariest thing I can think of.
Indestructible Aura, the most metal-looking Magic card anyone will open today.
Is that guy throwing?
Yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
he is.
That's great.
Giant Strength. I mean, I know you're not big on the auras in general, Marshall, but in this
think I'm
old
coming
format,
around.
you
Right.
might be thinking there's another
Oh,
Moss
man.
Monster.
Boy, if you can't get through a Moss Monster, this is going to be a rough draft.
Torwaki.
Torwaki is quite strong. 5 mana for a 3/3. Tap, deal 2 damage, target attacking or blocking creature.
And there's Lord Magnus. We saw him earlier. His ability not super great, but you still got a 6 mana 4/3 with
Oh,
First Strike.
Gabriel Angelfire, another vanilla legend.
So 2 green-white legends. Gabriel Angelfire does have some text. I believe at the beginning of your combat, you can choose one of multiple keywords.
At the beginning of your upkeep,
okay.
choose Flying, First Strike, Trample, or Rampage 3, and Gabriel Angelfire gains that ability until your next.
So most common ability, I mean, if you're on the defensive, I can see First Strike, but I would guess Flying.
Dave
Oftentimes-
Williams snapped off that Gabriel Angelfire.
Again, evasion, very important. 7 mana, 4/4 flyer, very, very strong.
I like just sending a message and just doing Trample, you know, like,
There's plenty of moss monsters that can get in the way, though.
okay, fine, flying it is.
Yeah. Whoever's red-black is going to be super happy to snap up that Torwaki.
Oh, that might be John Finkel.
Seriously, I wonder if
Yeah.
Finkel's going to solidify back in that direction after having veered into green.
Vampire Bats to Paulo.
Yeah, and Vampire Bite, you look at it, it's black for a 0/1 flyer, but it does, you can use mana to pump
That
it a
was
couple
the
times.
hand of the goat.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hoof came in and
yeah.
took that Torwaki, so.
Well, if you notice, just like the power level disparity of kind of some of the vanilla creatures that we've seen versus anything that has any utility whatsoever is just so huge that when you get the opportunity to take something like a Torwaki, you just take it, you cut off some of the other vanilla creatures that you've taken and you just try to move in. And it's also, it is a red creature. It does get pumped by that Gauntlet of Might.
And John might just be hating some of the green cards away from Jason Chan here.
Could be.
Maybe. I think it's possible that he's also leaving himself open. He hasn't really had the opportunity to take any good red cards. Every time he looks at the pack, he just has 2 kobolds to choose from. So he's probably just, kind of hedging and just figuring out, taking some good green creatures just because you never know.
Glyph of Doom followed by Force Spike in our next pack.
No one expects the second
There's
Force
that
Spike.
Tundra
No,
Wolves.
nobody.
Or the third. This is the third one that's been put on the table. Cyclopean Mummy.
Yep.
So we've seen each of these cards prior, and there's another Dragonfly.
It's a flyer.
There's another Alabaster Potion as well. Wall
It's a
of
wall
Earth.
of Earth.
That's an 06, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Rust. Haven't seen any key artifacts that I remember, but...
Well, there was that Force Field.
Oh, and the Gauntlet of Might. that
And the
we started
Gauntlet of Might,
with.
yeah.
Right.
Okay. Wall of Heat.
3 mana, 2/6. That
This
blocks
one,
everything.
you get a little too close. That thing will burn you.
Uh-oh.
Green Mana Battery. That thing looks cool. Actually, not that great, though.
Yeah, the art is pretty nice on those, but
There's a Shimmy and Night Stalker.
5 mana, 4/4. That's
Yeah,
strong.
I'm into that. And Lifeblood.
Lifeblood is just kind of a way to gain some life. I imagine that that 5 mana 4/4 is going to be one of the higher picks.
Yeah, Lifeblood's kind of interesting. You gain a life for each time one of your opponent's mountains becomes tapped.
Okay,
So it's
okay.
kind of a, we talk about these color-specific hate cards. This doesn't quite fit that description, but maybe it would be good against a red deck. It feels like no.
Yeah. It's maybe if you don't have any Circle of Protection reds, this kind of does something similar in that vein, right? If your opponent's trying to fireball you out and you have this in play, it's just not going to work that well.
Right. So Night Stalker is actually the first pick out of the pack. Shimmy and Night Stalker, black tap. All damage that we've dealt to you this turn by target attacking creature is dealt to the Night Stalker instead. So
Yeah.
That actually
Paolo
soaked
took
up
a
damage
green
from
mana
lot of
battery
creatures.
there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But Finkel takes the Emerald Dragonfly, so still keeping himself. Maybe he's Jund.
Yeah. He could just be straight up Jund, or he could be.
And now Jason Chan takes the
Black, green,
Cyclopean Mummy and has taken a couple of black cards now.
I'm curious, how many times will John Finkel have done Rochester Draft this full stop? Was this a big part of his early pro career?
Absolutely.
Or?
Absolutely. He's played in, I'm trying to remember, if his Pro Tour win, his limited Pro Tour win was at Rochester or not. But he's definitely done Rochester at the highest level.
He's in his
of
comfort zone
competition.
here.
Oh,
because, I mean, I would venture that many of these players have not.
when his good
Like,
friend
has
Steve
Jason
O'Mahony,
Chan done one?
when his good friend Steve O'Mahony Schwartz won Pro Tour LA, that was a Rochester, and it was Steve OMS, Worth Wolpert, and John Finkel all sitting next to each other and drafting very cooperatively in a Rochester draft.
But it was an individual event.
It was an individual event, yeah. They just all made the top 8.
But it looks like, Finkel and Amaz are both kind of fighting over colors here.
All right, there's the Cyclopean
Mummy
Mummy.
again, yep.
Avoid Fate. Green counterspell.
That's Flash Flood.
Not to be confused with Flood.
Another Kobold.
Or Flash Fires. Another Alabaster Potion there.
Chain Lightning.
Chain Lightning. That is
Red's got some real nice removal.
Sorcery
in the set.
Speed Lightning Bolt. It does have an additional clause that your opponent can throw it back at you if they pay double red, but that happens fairly infrequently, and you're quite happy to just have 3 damage for
Ooh, a green turtle.
There's a giant turtle.
Giant Turtle, 2/4.
Archer also a reasonable effect.
Wow, Underworld Dreams there.
By the way, Giant Turtle's flavor is fantastic. It's slow.
It attacks every other turn.
Yeah.
Blue mana battery.
Okay.
2 tap, target creature you control deals no damage.
That is.
Ooh.
Okay.
This is the casting cost of it.
This is a card that makes, oh boy, you get to do some weird stuff with
So
Rasputin
it is a
Dreamweaver.
battlefield with 7 dream counters on it. You can remove a dream counter to add a colorless mana. You can remove a dream counter to prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to him. And of note, he's a 6 mana 4/1.
Yeah.
You can, at the beginning of your upkeep, if he was untapped, you can put a dream counter back on him, and he can't have more than 7 dream counters on him.
He is the centerpiece of multiple infinite combos in Commander, usually involving Nim's Death Mantle and some sort of sacrifice outlet.
To get a bunch of mana and bring
Infinite
it back
mana,
and do
yeah.
stuff. Okay, gotcha.
Because it would come back
If you
equipped
could-
with the Death Mantle.
Right. But
But
know-
at the end of the day, we're talking, like, its best ability here is to make mana or to protect itself.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
it can really beat down and, not be killed.
also, can you, like just even like attacking into this, when Rasputin just has 7 counters in it, like what can you actually? You can't even attack. It just feels so bad because this creature is going to brick wall that creature and absorb all that damage.
Yeah, Shuhei's going to jump on that card. I think that card's really good.
And
in
he's
Shuhei's
been in
deck.
blue-white, right?
Yeah,
Blue-white control.
yeah. I like Shuhei's deck a lot.
He has mana drain. I like it, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Devin
Ralph
and
Levy
Archer
takes
there.
a Davin and Archer, yeah.
We had some callbacks to that in Dominaria recently.
Davin and Trapper.
That's right. There's Underworld Dreams.
Turn 1 Dark Ritual Underworld Dreams.
I wonder, can you do anything with Underworld Dreams realistically here?
I think it's just. I mean, it doesn't. It hasn't really traditionally been great and limited. It's just a way to kind of slowly drain out your opponent.
I mean, I did talk about the need for win conditions of some sort.
Right.
This is that.
Yeah, the problem with it is just the triple black and the mana cost.
Yeah.
This is something that you really want to play on turn 3. So if you're not mono black, it's just really, really hard to justify putting this in your deck.
Yeah, turn 8 Underworld Dreams
Right.
doesn't have a nice ring, does it?
I mean, if you're just like somehow get this and drain life and just end up mono black, maybe.
There's Anti-Magic Aura again.
Yeah. And Keepers of the Faith once again as well.
And Vampire Bats. Is there a Pyrotechnics coming?
Yeah. You are a psychic.
Ship it. Well played, well played. Holy day there. Another Hornet Cobra. 2/1 first striker for 3, and there's
Rock on.
the Rockstar.
Is that Force Spike 4 or 5?
4, and it's kind of getting interesting because, like, now they are getting a little tricky to play around. Like, you never play around the 4th Force Spike. Or
I'm just not playing any spell until turn 5.
And it's Monsters World. We just live in it. A white mana battery.
Doesn't look as cool as the green one.
Agree.
Yeah, Deadfall, that's a cycle.
All right, what's
Can't play
the
enchantments.
rare? Is that it? Tempest of Free?
Tempest Ifrit.
So I think Tempest of Fleet will not be allowed to be played during the course of the matches because it is an anti-card. It allows you to basically switch a card at random from your opponent's hand with the Tempest of Fleet. So you give them Tempest of Fleet and you just take their card forever.
And
that's what it says.
I'm going to read it because that's funny. Yeah. But as you said, that will not end up being in the thing. You have to, in fact, remove it from your deck before playing if you're not playing for anti. It says tap it, sacrifice it. Target opponent may pay 10 life. If that player doesn't, they reveal a card at random from their hand. Exchange ownership of the revealed card and Tempest Ifrit. We're talking about ownership here. Put the revealed card into your hand and Tempest Ifrit from anywhere into that player's graveyard. This change in ownership is permanent.
Yes.
That is a legally binding contract somewhere.
Right. Keep in mind, this was kind of the Wild West. They were trying a lot of different things, and this was just one of those ways to try to implement something interesting.
By the way, talking about another type of card that we might see in these packs besides an anti-card are some of the so-called dexterity cards.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Chaos Orb and North Star? Falling Star, sorry. Those will sort of be, you'll get to sort of select one card that you want to hit, but you will still have to do a dexterity check.
You do need to drop it from
still,
1 foot above the table with a 360-degree rotation, and it does have to touch that card.
Which was very concerning to Paulo, who has no reference for what a foot is.
I said it's about 1/3 of a meter. He goes, okay.
Apparently Luis was kind of showing off his Chaos Orb flipping skills.
Really?
And I believe Matt Ness was saying that he had a 90% hit rate with Chaos Orb. So if you want some tips, LSV might be the person to go to.
It's really not hard.
By the way, guys, we're now in Arabian Nights. This is the first Magic expansion.
This is my favorite expansion. Also, best expansion symbol ever.
Urg Raiders, Kurd Ape.
And I think just
Hassan Ogress, Unstable Mutation.
Old Man of the Sea.
Remember, we don't get as many cards out of these packs. Oh, Aladdin's Lamp, too. No, it does not.
And now we're
going to
see Antiquities.
Urza's Tower.
What if you just assemble Tron?
That still gets played. There's an Amulet of Krug.
Another prevent damage.
Yeah. Yeah, Argivan Blacksmith there. Ooh, I like that one. Orcish Mechanics is a sweet one. And there's a Mishra's War Machine. That has banding, and it's huge, and it's colorless.
And there's a Damping Field?
Yeah, Damping Field. That's right, BDM. Wow, this is going to be really tough, I think, for our players to choose from all of these different options. Mishra's War Machine, though, very nice. 7 mana, 5/5 with banding. At the beginning of your upkeep, it deals 3 damage to you unless you discard a card. If the War Machine deals damage to you this way, tap it. So it's a clock.
Right.
But it's very powerful when it's on the board. We saw that there's also Aladdin's Lamp up there.
And Shuhei just hoping. I don't know who's actually drafting right now, who's taking the pick, but
I believe this is John.
Shuhei just staring that Old Man of the Sea. There's not a lot of blue drafters. And, that is one of the best cards. It is the most powerful card.
By a lot, yeah. Aladdin's Lamp is a cool card, though not that great. It's 10 mana, and you can pay X and tap it. And the next time you draw a card this turn, instead look at the top X cards of your library, put all but one of them on the bottom of your library in a random order, then draw a card. And X can't be 0. It lets you get through your library very quickly. Right. But the problem is it costs, 55 mana as it's printed on the card. It actually has, they didn't have they weren't able to print the number 10 in the mana symbol, so they have 5 colorless.
5 and 5. It's not 55 mana, by the way.
It is not 55, no. But the problem is that that's extraordinarily expensive and probably not nearly worth it here.
And for those of you just tuning in,
you see John snapping up a Mishra's War Machine.
The power level's there, right? Yeah. I mean, you do have to play with it, but
so PV is in blue. He took the Old Man of the Sea.
Sefka took Hassan Ogress.
Yeah.
Kurd Ape to Dave Williams.
Well, PV also has Prodigal Sorcerer, so I think he might be the other blue drafter at the table.
Okay. Yeah, I can take a look at what he's working with right now. Yeah, PV also got that water elemental out of the first pack.
Okay.
Shuhei, I'm
was
interested
like,
in
"This is an
everything
artifact."
expensive and slow.
He's probably either taking that or the Amulet of Krug.
PV also ended up with 2 of the Llanowar Elves.
Okay. Oh, Battering Ram.
Battering Ram goes to Shuhei. And there's Urg Raiders for Jason Chan and an Amulet of Krug.
She was like, all right, I'll take it.
All right, you got me.
It's a beautiful card, too.
Yeah. Oh, there's the Sandstorm.
Yeah, keep an eye on that card.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. You're not going to do it?
I'm not musically talented enough to do. Yeah. I did see one of the greatest things ever. I think Gavin he tweeted out a picture of a Sandstorm that was signed by Darude. I was like, that is just the best thing I've ever
He's probably
seen.
like, sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And now we're going to see the chat just being flooded with Sandstorms.
Oh, yeah, there
likely.
they are.
There
They're
they
coming
are.
in already. There's a Jackal Flying Men.
I'm more interested in the
Rook
elephant.
Egg. That is the real deal.
That thing is legit.
But by the way, that's one of the first major pieces of Magic Errata. Because the way Rook Egg is worded, now it says put into a graveyard from play, but it just said put into a graveyard. So you could drop to 8 cards, discard it, and then put a 4/4 into play.
Right.
So, and that's how it used to work under the rules.
Yeah. Yeah, the egg is very, very strong. Heavily incentivizes people not to attack you, as once it goes into the graveyard, you get a 4/4 flyer.
So do you two ornithopters
Pack? What is going on here?
double loathing of the ornithopter for
Wow, Astronaut's Altar, interesting. I don't know how powerful that is in limited, but just on raw power level, it's a you sacrifice a creature to get 2 mana.
It's a sack outlet for that Rook Egg.
I guess you could maybe run the kobolds, the both of the ornithopters, fireball.
This is Paulo's pick.
So Kibler actually has a ton of blue cards there. He's got that unstable mutation. There is that little combo that played in some old constructed decks, the old Flying Man unstable mutation combo. Apparently that was Mark Rosewater's first deck.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
You get in for 4, you get in for 3, you get in for 2,
And that's
you
why it
get
was
in for 1.
reprinted in Time Spiral.
All right. Paulo takes the Ogress.
Oh, okay. So he's blue-black maybe?
Possibly. Let's take a look.
I think we're going to be talking 3 colors.
Yeah, but BB 2-drop,
I hear
War
you.
Elephant is a card I really like in this limited format.
It's 2/2 Banding Trampler.
Yeah.
For 4.
Oh, yeah. Anything with banding is incredibly strong. It allows you to basically distribute the damage.
So Kibler did get the
however
Flying
you
Man.
want.
And that's so powerful. You don't think about it until you actually play, and your opponent's like, okay, I'm going to do 2 to this, 1 to this, 1 to this, and 1 to this. None of my creatures die, all yours do. And you're like, wait, what?
Right.
What does Banding do again?
I'm going to put all the damage on my blocking Drudge Skeleton and regenerate.
Just regenerate
Right.
that thing. Totally.
Yeah, so, banding is one of the most powerful, I think, just keywords of all time. Like, if you look to block with multiple creatures and just one of your creatures has banding,
Shuei's going to jump on that
any
tortoise.
of that damage that you want to just one of your creatures, or however you want, basically.
I like that giant tortoise for Shuhei a lot there in his deck. Just a really cheap creature that'll come up the ground if anybody has a deck that comes out of the gate even remotely fast.
I want a millstone to be opened, and I want Shuhei to take it and just draft like a blue.
I do too. I really do too.
See the Urza's Land going last. Let's see what
All
we
right,
got.
there's
for
another Rook Egg.
Another Rook Egg. Okay. A Wailuli Wolf.
Decent onboard creature.
Named after Tom Wiley. Is that correct? If I remember right?
No idea. There's a
Combadge Witches.
I do know Tom.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's named after him.
Popper Staple.
Yeah. Desert Nomads. Desert Walk.
There's another Urg Raiders.
By the way, this is Desert Walk when there was only the card.
Shahrazad!
Oh my God, BDM! If you
oh my God,
you BDM said all I want to see.
Oh my God, this pack is insane!
Oh my God, that is an insane open here.
all
the Silver Showcase.
Can we bring in a smaller table for a sub game to be played in the feature match area, please?
So
Can we
a
have a
smaller-
tiny play
like a
mat?
ki- like a
tiny
kiddie
play
table?
mat?
Wow. This pack is completely absurd.
It's so hard to ask someone to play that card in a tournament with this much on the line. But boy, I hope somebody plays that.
Yeah.
By the way, the Oracle text on Shahrazad took that book of text and reduced it to 2 sentences. Sorcery: players play a Magic sub game using their libraries as decks. Each player who doesn't win the sub game loses half their life. Round it up. But
So it's a
seriously,
white burn
if somebody
spell.
takes and plays that, we will have a sub game of Magic played separate from it, and it's all BDM wants in this world.
The game within a game.
I've gotten my Player of the Year playoff match, and now all I want to see.
You want the mini game.
That's my bucket list coverage item. A Shahrazad game.
Now,
on
I've
camera.
never thought of Shahrazad from a strategic standpoint. There is no. Why would you ever do that?
Well, what if you
And
got?
I'm thinking, of course,
what if you got a
here-
Ring of Maruf?
Well, remember, you have to pay the mana and cast the Shahrazad. You don't get a card anymore. You play a game that you're whatever percentage you are to lose half their life, and then when you come back, you're down a card.
I understand. I
mean,
still
that's
would like
bad,
to see
right?
it. It's
You can
terrible.
deal half. So maybe in like a burn deck or something.
Okay.
By the way, Argothian Tree Folk there just got grabbed. That's just like an Ironroot Tree Folk, except it has double green in the casting cost, but it takes no damage from artifact creatures.
Right.
Just better.
Yeah,
Oh my God, that Bizarre Baghdad is gorgeous.
Racolite for Shuhei. Bizarre Baghdad and Shahrazad just hanging around.
I mean, the truth is, neither of them are particularly good.
Right. In limited, Bizarre Baghdad is not really the type of card that you want in limited because you're just going to be down cards overall.
Yeah.
All right, there goes an Urg Raiders.
Urg Raiders is solid.
If you ever pacified an Urg Raiders in limited, it's glorious.
That's a win con.
You see a battering ram get taken there.
Orcish
Mechanic for
All right. There's a red
Frigolia.
creature.
Yeah. Man, we are just not going to see a Shahrazad sub game, and I'm just going to be so sad.
I'm just going to feel like somebody's going to take Bizarre last. It is terrible and limited.
It is very, very bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kibler got the Shahrazad. Kibler, I could see Kibler.
Kibler is just not white at all, though.
I understand.
He's taken a bunch of blue and green cards.
Yeah. Kibler announced he wasn't playing. It's just a hate draft. He's like, I don't want to play a sub.
Right.
By the way, Shuhei was the one who took the Bizarre. He just couldn't take that beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another Kurt Ape.
Oh,
There's another
that's
unstable
a second
mutation.
unstable mutation.
Yeah.
Moorish Cavalry.
Cavalry.
That's Trample.
Somehow a 4-mana 3/3 white creature with trample.
A lot of Urg Raiders. There can just be
Seriously.
a very good aggressive black deck here shaping up.
Camel!
Yay! It's got banding. It's playable.
Protection
Love
Desert.
that guy. That's Jandor's ring. Not his saddlebags, but his ring.
Yeah, discard a card that you drew this
That's an
turn.
Oasis, right?
Right.
Ooh, Cursed Rack.
Cursed Rack.
Shuhei, you got to discard your hand down to 4
We've
cards.
seen a lot of Urgavian Blacksmith.
We have indeed, as well as Orcish.
Yeah, a lot of Orcish mechanics.
Lots of
A
battering
lot of
rams.
battering rams as well. Artifact possession.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, a millstone. Interesting.
Shoo, hey.
Ooh, is that a-
shoo, hey.
That's Gaia's Avenger.
Whose pick is it right now?
+1.
Let's see what he's going to do. I really wonder about that millstone. You know, we mentioned it earlier as a potential win condition if you could just stall out the board, which kind of happens anyway.
Right.
And boom, just start milling them every turn.
Is this Shuhei's pick?
I don't believe so, no. I think it's a crossroads.
Oh, it's Dave
It's
Williams'
on
pick.
Dave. Yeah, he's a couple seats away. He
Oh,
took the
he-
Yeah,
millstone.
Dave knows
All
to take
right.
the millstone.
He knows what's up. First pick, Millstone.
Love it. Also, Millstone is awesome because it's in
Kibler
the current
just
draft
got a
set. Like,
second-
you literally can be drafting on Magic Online at this exact moment and take a Millstone at the same time.
But it would be
He
last
did.
pick.
It would not be first. Yeah.
Kibler just got a second copy of Unstable Mutation, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, great with the flying man that he has.
And if your opponent has a slow draw, even good on a Lenore Elf.
Yeah.
Well, he's also blue-green. He could get Scrib Sprites as well. Keep
Yeah.
that in mind in the later packs.
That's right. We're winding our way down here on the first chunk of our draft. We do have 2 more beta packs worth of picks coming up after this one's over. But we've still got more here from our Arabian Nights and Antiquities pack.
Gaia's Avenger, a nice creature against a deck with lots of artifacts. Don't know if anybody's like kind of has a bunch of artifacts. We know Shui has a couple. Dave Williams just took that Millstone. But
John just took the Gaia's Avenger.
okay. So John is some Jund color combination, but it's still not very clear.
And then 2 copies of Artifact Possession.
All right, next pack incoming. There's the Nomads again.
Ooh, fish liver oil.
Who's hungry? Her Jackal.
All right.
War Elephant, very strong.
Yeah, I think that card's great here.
Oh, no, that's a 3rd Ruck Egg. 3rd Ogress.
Pyramids.
Sinbad. That guy's cool.
All right, now
Sinbad reminds me of
Antiquities.
Dryad Greenseeker from M19.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, except in testing, we called Dryad Greenseeker Sin Good. That was the one that we went with. Because it's basically Sinbad, but more toughness, and you don't lose your best spell.
That's great.
All right, another Cursed Rack here. Another Argothian Treefolk.
Hey.
Oh, Rocket Launcher is something that if it makes its way around to John and he's got that Gauntlet of Might,
I think people are just going to take the rocket launcher. Now, if you see, it's a little bit expensive, but what happens is in response to the trigger, you can just do it multiple times. So this can act as a way to just kind of clear the board. You can spend a lot of mana in one turn to do it.
so yeah, you can, if you have, and again, that Gauntlet, which gives him the ability to tap his mountains for extra mana.
Yeah, but it is the type of card that I think, a good amount of decks would just play in their decks. If you get to 6 mana, you can distribute 3 damage any way you choose among any number of targets.
Yeah, again, we haven't seen a ton of removal.
Right.
And that will actually deal with a creature or, finish off an opponent.
Oh, Sinbad.
Getting that value. Looking at that tree.
Oh, yeah, the rocket
That's
launcher
Shuhei?
goes to Shuhei.
Okay.
Somebody's getting that tree folk and is going to be very happy.
Yes.
Yeah,
What
we'll
is-
see. Jason Chan's going to take it. He and John have been fighting over grade.
So he's okay. Rock egg for John. So I think Jason's actually not red. He just took the fireball, likely splashed
Sure,
it.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true, of course.
Detonate there for Sifka.
Yeah, there
Oh,
have been
Dave
a
Williams
number of
picks
good
up
artifacts.
a War Mammoth. Is that his second Mammoth?
Might be.
And he takes the Staff of Ages as well there. I like when people pick a card and then read it.
That is his second War Elephant.
Yeah.
Dave has 2.
PV just takes a Her Jackal and really doesn't leave John anything here.
Right.
He's going to take Artifact Blast.
It does seem like there is a little more depth in this combination of packs that we've seen. We have a bunch of powerful banding creatures, some good cheap creatures in black. There's just a lot of things for everybody.
All
All
right,
right, our
this is
next
Brian
pack
Kibler's
coming in
first
here.
pick.
Yeah, Kibler's rubbing his hands together. There's an Urg Raiders.
He wants blue-green cards.
Another Camel.
How about a Dandan?
Dandan.
Does have Island Home. Ooh, that would be number 3 if he takes this.
Gazbine Ogre.
Look at that guy.
Ooh, that's nice with Unstable Mutation.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure your opponent doesn't get have the highest life total.
There's a Boo Jafar.
Ebony
I'm really
Horse.
excited with the prospect of just Kibler just having 3 Unstable Mutations and just drafting the 1-mana flyer deck with a bunch of Unstable Mutations.
How about a Clay Statue?
Yeah, Clay Statue seems super solid. Mishra's
Ooh,
Factory.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Is that a Summer Factory?
Yoshin Soldier there is next. Mechanics, we've seen that guy around. Seen that one. Tormod's wand.
Tanos' wand, yeah.
Tanos' wand. Thank you.
Ooh, an Ascenic Poltergeist. Okay.
2 tap, make a creature with power no greater than 2 unblockable by all creatures except artifact creatures in a turn. Other cards can later be used to make it greater than 2.
Yeah, it just
sorting it out there.
it's kind of like a Dwarven Warrior. It makes a creature unblockable by as long as it has no more power than 2.
2 mana, 2 mana to basically make one of your small creatures unblockable, push through some damage.
You know how it says Beyond 2? I wonder if that was some call out to Howl from Beyond.
Ooh, yeah. What do you
So
think
this
Finkel's
is-
taking out of here?
Is it Kibler's pick or?
This is
Oh,
Kibler's
sorry,
pick.
Kibler.
I think he might take that Dan.
I think Unstable
Or
Mutation.
the Mishra's Fountain.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he's going to take Clay Statue.
He went for the statue.
I really wanted to see that Unstable Mutation picked out.
That statue does seem very annoying for the opponent.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, just
That's just a
regenerating
solid card.
3/1.
Yeah.
See
Nice.
Jason Chan take the factory.
He didn't really have a lot of great options for his colors. So
John
he just
takes
opted.
Battering Ram. And then Unstable Mutation goes to PV, who also has some blue creatures. And
Right.
Williams gets a Abu Jafar for his white deck.
Somebody's got to take that Dan for the blue mirror. Just 2 mana 4/1.
Great artwork, by the way.
Yeah.
Super.
Yeah, people used to call that card the boat because they didn't know that the Dan was the monster beneath the boats.
A large fish approaches.
Raph Levy takes the Gazban Ogre. Williams gets the wand. Make his elephants unblockable. Not sure what
Vitor.
happens if you make the elephant unblockable and part of a band.
I think only the elephant is unblockable.
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
how that works. But there will undoubtedly be a good amount of banding questions during the course of
Always.
this top 8.
Oh, wait till we get to the games.
No, that's what I meant.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right, there's another war elephant.
Wow.
Oh, there's a bird maiden.
That's a win con.
Little evasion. Desert. Very, very strong.
Whoever got all those camels is going to be stoked. Wayuli Wolf.
Ooh, Oubliette.
Oh, the black Oblivion Ring, I guess.
it
The
basic-
pauper players rejoice.
Right.
That is a great way to describe that card. It is fantastic.
Sorcerer's
Oh,
Queen
man,
as well.
Sorcerer's
My
Queen is a card I've
goodness.
always loved.
Yeah. Card is
Great
fantastic.
artwork, too.
And a Guardian
Wow,
Beast.
the black
pack
cards
is
of this pack.
Stacked.
Yeah, 3 great black cards along with the. I mean, actually, every card in that pack is strong outside of the Bird Maiden, basically.
Boy, wonder if we can see a Guardian Beast Chaos Orb combo. There you see an Argothian Pixies. Oh, Atog.
Atog.
Atog. Oh, I love that guy.
Unulite Atog. What
Look
a
at,
combo.
look at that combo.
You know, Amulet's a good card, too.
Yeah.
Transmute artifact. Yeah, you have to pay the difference in cost.
I imagine some black cards are going to be picked up here.
Yeah, these packs have actually been pretty good out of our combos.
Right.
They're indestructible.
Yeah, what do you? I mean, what's even the better black card here? You have the Sorcerer's Queen and the Oubliette. It might be the Sorcerer's Queen just because her onboard presence is just so powerful.
Let's look it up.
The rare is a transmute artifact as well.
Not get destroyed or taken into something.
Which is like the original Tinker.
It is.
Guardian Beast and then
All right, you hear.
his Guardian Beast is untapped. Non-creature artifacts you control can't be enchanted. They have indestructible, and other players can't gain control of them. This effect does not remove auras already attached to those artifacts.
So there you get the reading on Guardian Beast.
That's it.
Yeah, we've got judges on hand here to make sure to interpret any of the old cards just because they've come so far as far as templating goes that it can actually be difficult to decipher even what some of these cards do. Look at all the text.
Yeah, that is just a lot of words.
But I really like the old cards now for that reason. I know it's weird, but like I find it really endearing when they over-explain stuff and You know, it's kind of the card's talking to you in English,
Right.
like conversationally at some point.
Well, now that we've internalized so much about how a lot of cards should work, you just don't need to put those texts on the cards anymore. Whereas back then, it's like nobody knew.
So Nakamura gets the War Elephants.
Okay.
And then Wailuli Wolf to Finkel, who's...
Wait, the oubliette went before the Sorceress Queen?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Are you surprised?
And all the
I
black
am,
cards are
I am.
gone already now. Every time I look at Guardian Beast, it feels like it costs B, but you see that 3 hidden up there in its
Right.
casting cost.
I mean, the Sorceress Queen is certainly far more vulnerable, but again, just her onboard ability makes combat just impossible.
A little desert there on the wheel for Kibler. Lots of battering rams going around the table.
Yeah. Need answers to those walls.
Feels like there's more answers than there are walls.
There are more rams than walls.
Banding while attacking.
Yeah, I mean that might just
ATOG.
be the most relevant text on that card. Battering ram, just band with something and then attack.
Look at this disrespect to the ATOG.
I know. The most constructed playable of all the cards there.
How dare you?
Shuhei gets the last pick, ATOG. What a shame.
Yeah.
There's a giant tortoise, another wolf.
Now, I believe this is our last pack here. Yeah. For the combo of Antiquities and Arabian Nights. Now, we do have 2 more
Ooh.
Double
packs
tortoise.
to go of
All that defense.
beta.
Ring of
Oh,
Maruf. Now you
there's
can
a
play your
Ring of
Shahrazad in
Maruf.
your sideboard.
And go get
And go get it if you want to
never
draw the
know.
game.
eye for an eye.
Ooh,
Have we
was Tron
completed the
open?
Tron?
I'm not sure.
Feel like we're 2/3 of the way there, maybe. But
Yeah.
Not sure.
We've certainly opened 3 Tron pieces.
Definitely. Another tower. Dragon
Okay.
Engine.
Dragon Engine on a card that would also be useful for John.
That's Sage of Latinum. Another altar, too.
And Dwarven Weaponsmith.
Okay.
So, not too much here. We have a couple of good defensive creatures. We have the Urg Raiders, and then the Dragon Engine are the cards that look interesting here. That Dragon Engine likely is just going to get snapped up pretty quickly. It's a mana sink, and it goes in any deck.
Can Shuhei wheel 2 turtles?
He's already got 1, right? I think he's going to be set up for a pretty good defensive deck. I don't know if he's going to be able to beat Dave Williams' Millstone if he gets paired against
No. Unless, was there a steel artifact that we've seen?
Ooh, that would be nice. There were some Divine Offerings we saw.
All right, so this is Jason Chan.
He's taking the Wailuli Wolf first.
Yep. Finkel with the Dragon Engine.
Yeah.
Decent with the Gauntlet.
Takes it. Yeah, good mana sink.
Paulo, is he just taking a turtle here?
Oh, you see, thinking, wow. Probably that Urg Raiders, right? I think he has.
Oh, he's black, right?
He is
he's
black.
blue-black. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sandstorm for Dave Williams. Kibler and Levy, the Hall of Famers, both take a giant tortoise.
No turtle for Shuhei. Wah wah.
He's going to take eye for an eye. And then the Sage of Latinum.
There will not be Tron. Nobody will Tron up here.
Well, Kibler has Ring of Maruf and Shahrazad now. That's all I want to say.
Okay.
Okay.
Noted, BDM, noted.
All right.
They better take the correct tower art first. They did. Well played. Now, these Antiquities, Urza's lands are all gorgeous, to be honest. They're
Ring of Maruf, the original Burning Wish kind of card.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Little
original
price
Wish.
here at 10 mana to get that card out of your sideboard. But that does bring us to the conclusion of our first stretch of our draft. We're not done yet, though. We're going to have 2 more packs of beta to round out these decks. But we're also going to get a chance to take a look at the list and see what people are working with as far as what colors they're in and how things went overall. And you can see the players are going to take a minute to step away here as well. As far as we go, we're going to take a short commercial break. So go get a glass of water, come back, and we're going to open up 2 more packs of beta. We'll see you then. Feature match area here in Minneapolis. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Paul Cheon and Brian David Marshall. We're here for the Silver Showcase, and we are drafting old school style, not just the packs, but also the method. We're drafting Rochester, which is face-up draft, and everybody goes around the horn and picks cards. So the players have a good, strong idea of what other people are doing as well. And we've got 2 packs of beta coming up shortly.
You see the players just making their way back in. Just, what did I draft again? What do I have? We've talked about Jason Chan and John Finkel kind of fighting over some colors. I think they're both fighting over green for a good portion of the packs, although it's not clear where players are going to end up once all the packs have settled.
Yeah, we still have a couple of packs to go, but do keep in mind that these are going to be beta boosters, where, you know, oftentimes you will open 5 or 6 lands. So at this point, players should be settling in and, you know, have about 16 to 17 playables and hoping to pick up 2 to 3 playables in each of the last packs to kind of round out their deck. And this is kind of the only way to make, you know, functional decks with the draft.
All right, looks like we're underway. Let's see what we can open up here. Maybe some iconic card from the past, like a Mox or
Sinkhole.
Yeah, Sinkhole's pretty iconic.
Okay, that's a nice
That's a
one.
good one. Followed by Swamp.
Hey, it goes right with it.
Another Swamp.
Oh, Fog. Talk about iconic.
Cards that tilt Marshall. Ornithopters and fogs all day long.
Sinkhole also isn't a personal favorite.
Yeah.
There we
He's
go.
dead.
He's dead.
Okay.
Gets a creature back. Oh boy, we're off to. We got 4 lands already.
We have more lands and spells.
Uh-oh,
Still
5
more
lands.
lands
We
and
could break
spells.
our record of 6 for the day.
Yeah.
This is part of the deal.
There
it is, the OG Grizzly Bears.
Grizzly Bear.
The OB.
Yeah, the OB.
Oh, Pestilence.
That's a big
Tremendous
mark.
card.
Pestilence. That is a problem card for anybody playing against it.
The
One of the best
anti-fireball.
limited cards of all time.
Fire Elemental also very solid at 5/4. Desecrate land, or Consecrate land, excuse me. Bog Wraith, that's a decent one too.
Solid creature.
Also in Rochester.
Living Lands.
If you combine living lands with
I
pestilence,
was just going to say, we have a combo.
yeah.
Pestilence, extremely powerful. When you first read it, you're like, oh, I don't really know, but it,
Yeah.
dominates the board.
This is completely insane. It's just one of the best cards ever, and I mean, maybe it's at this point it's too late to switch colors, but if this pack has lots of lands and not that many playables, it's even so powerful you could consider just hate drafting it and just preventing somebody else from taking it.
Well, somebody took it.
That was Jason Chan. Jason Chan took it.
Is he in black?
I believe he is. Yeah, he has the Hell's Caretaker.
Well,
yeah.
he did his research then because they haven't printed Pestilence in a while, and that's a really powerful card. So good for him.
I believe he's black, green, splashing red.
Wow, Ralph Levy takes a fire amount to nothing. Is going to get back to John or Paolo here
Well,
with all
and
these
you
lands.
see how
Yeah.
quickly these cards dried up. I mean, now there's a bunch of lands here as well.
They actually they're getting 0 picks for their deck.
John's going to get a living lands. It's kind
that a
of
thing?
it's kind of card he can make.
I mean, he's 3 colors probably.
Yeah,
He's going to have like 2 forests in play.
Yeah.
probably not going to play it, but
Yeah.
something to keep in mind is just
Right.
a way to, if you're scrapping for cards and you can finish people off with it.
All right. Let us continue. Deathward Island.
Combat Trick.
Earthbind.
Answer to Flyers. Oh, solid counter magic in Power Sync.
Yeah, Earthbind's interesting because it's an enchant creature that does damage, so it doesn't always stay on.
Now Hill Giant's the OG.
There you
Hill
go.
Giant.
The HG. Cop Green there. Circle of Protection.
Okay.
Weakness
Cop
is a
Green,
playable
Cop
card.
Green could be huge
That's
if you
true.
find if it finds the right matchup
If
here.
you play against Brian Kibler with all those Iron Road Tree Folk.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a Twiddle. Shatter. Giant
that's
Spider.
Very, very strong creature here.
Yeah, an Iron Star. Maybe sideboard card. There's a Plains.
Wow, we want to see something huge here.
We want to see something big. We're waiting.
Hit me.
Birds of Paradise.
Paradise. That counts. I love that one.
Beta Birds.
Ooh, tap
That's
for
a
any
nice one.
color. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Now, if I was actually green, I would probably take the Giant Spider here. I think Giant Spider is just a very, very strong creature. Evasion is very, very important.
What if you're green and multiple colors?
Right.
So what if, even if you're base green, but you have a fireball and some black cards and whatever else.
If you're looking to be 3 color, for example, Jason Chan, he has that fireball that he's looking to splash. If it's his pick, Birds of Paradise does make sense as a pick.
Hell, Nakamura gets his 3rd counterspell of the draft so far.
Another power sync there for Shuhei.
Oh,
Hey,
All
good
right,
call,
well,
Paul.
that backs up what you just said.
And that means that Raph gets the birds.
right.
But again, we talked about it. It's really nice to have, but if you don't have the stuff to ramp into, it loses a little bit of its luster.
Yeah.
Weakness to Sifka.
Perhaps the fixing important here, though. We'll see.
That Circle of Protection green was taken right afterwards.
Okay.
After those 2 green drafters.
Yeah, Paulo got the Hill Giant.
And I think that was a draft against John. I think he just took a card away from John there.
Sure.
Iron Star, but there's, of course, a bunch of lands left, just a Twiddle. And a Death Ward left.
Just looking at power level of some of these cards, I'm really liking kind of where Jason Chan is at. He's got quite a few rares. He's got that Fireball. He's got Pestilence. just a lot of these just complete game changers.
I mean, that's interesting because Jason, Amaz, he's by far the least experienced Magic player at this table, right? I mean,
He
not
has
even close.
he has been the highest ELO rated player on Magic Online and Limited at some point in his career.
He also is just coming off a very solid finish at the last Grand Prix.
He was one win away from Pro Tour qualification. He finished in X3.
Right.
Drain Life. Who's got the black-red deck at the table?
No kidding. Generation again.
Another Spell Blast maybe to make its way to Shuhei.
Fire Breathing's next up there. And Flash Fires. That one is a particularly hateful card.
Oh, that's going to be taken pretty highly.
It's a huge card.
Very powerful.
Ankh of Mishra.
Okay.
So we've seen
You want to put it?
we've seen decks with a bunch of Urg Raiders and cheap creatures, and there were some Kumbaj Witches or Hassan Ogresses, I think. But I wonder if there's a deck that could be put together that's pretty cheap and then really taxes an opponent with something like Ankh of Mishra that wants to just play out a lot of lands.
Yeah, if you're kind of that incredibly aggressive black deck, I could see considering main decking this. At the same time, I think it's a very, very strong sideboard option against kind of like Shuhei Nakamura's deck, for example, kind of a slow control deck and kind of wants to hit its land drops. But not a lot of power in this pack.
Right.
Golem,
The
I
Golem
think,
has to be the best card, right?
right. Unless you're black, I can see taking the Drain Life if you are black there.
Makes sense. Shenandoah Dryad.
Let me take the
Flash
Shenandoah
Fires.
Dryad's second pick,
Was
by
that
the way.
Dave with the Flash Fires?
It might have been, yeah.
I'm going to look.
Finkel gets a Dwarven Warriors. But the Forest Walking Shenandoah Dryads being a second pick is also pretty interesting there.
Yes.
We actually have it as... I'll wait a second just to double check, but...
Land.
It matters which ones you take.
What if the stipulation was you can only play the lands that you draft?
Yeah, I like that. Hard mode.
Yeah.
Frozen Shade.
Frozen Shade.
There's a mountain.
Really beautiful mountain.
There are
No,
not as many
that's not even the
manas
best looking
expected.
mountain.
I understand. It just looks beautiful.
Oh, Crawworm.
Oh,
there
the
we
Big
go.
Daddy's here. Crawworm.
That's a
Everybody's
finisher.
favorite. Yeah.
Disintegrate.
Okay, now we have some real power in this pack. Disintegrate is extremely powerful. Howl from Beyond can do some damage too.
Again, in those aggro black decks.
Yeah. Phantasmal Terrain there.
Talked about that card earlier. If you want to turn on.
Oh, Hurler Minotaur.
And so the issue with like cards like Disintegrate,
Ring.
Let's figure out who's doing what here before I talk about Disintegrate some more. Combo with Disintegrate.
Millicrum.
or Magic cards. Soul Ring.
Balance.
Oh my goodness sakes. A balance hits the table.
That when John Finkel was first dominating Magic, before he even got to the Pro Tour,
Yeah.
Balance was one of his signature Magic
That was
cards.
his jam.
This pack is totally stacked.
Yeah, this pack ended up. Look at John.
Look at John
smiling.
thinking about Balance.
He's loving it.
He's like, remember that time I went to Atlanta and won all their Type 2 tournaments with Balance? Oh, yeah.
Can I
that
get an
was
Oracle
great.
reading on balance?
Slowly.
And look at
please.
Raph. If Raph, he's like, oh no.
Slowly. Read it more slowly.
Whose pick is this?
This is
Oh, Raph.
Raph
That's
pick.
why he's like, okay, what do I do here? So we know Raph is green. So Crawworm is a consideration. Obviously, there's the Soul Ring there as well. Does he have enough big creatures to ramp into?
I mean, there's definitely Tree Folk and Moss Monsters aplenty between
Right.
him and Kibler.
There's also Disintegrate as a potential splash, unless
Easy
he is
splash.
red. Yeah.
I think he's got
This is a
the
really
Disintegrate
sick
here.
pack.
He's taking Balance.
Can't let it
Wow.
go.
Second pick Soul Ring.
And
oh
there's
my
Disintegrate,
goodness.
third pick. Frozen Shade
What
goes
a-
next. And the Crawworm.
What
Unreal.
a pack.
You see how quickly those cards went? 'Cause
Right.
people are like, I cannot believe I'm getting this Disintegrate. And the next guy's like, I cannot believe I'm getting a Crawworm here. Glasses of Urza. Oh, Kibler with just the nasty wheel picks there.
Yeah.
Phantasmal Terrain and the glasses
A
of
grimy wheel.
Oh. After watching all those fantastic cards go ahead.
That has to be the best beta pack we've seen so far, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. That was super.
Oh,
Oh, there's
geez.
a Terror to kick this one off. Maybe
some
he
good
can beat
ones
that
here.
last one. Best Art Island. Okay.
Good start.
Best Art Mountain. I like this. Holy Armor.
Best Art Holy Armor.
It's Paralyzed. Card we've talked about a little bit. It's just like an underrated removal spell.
Definitely. Creature Bond. Another Best Art Mountain. Plains. We have a request in for a Sarah Angel. We'll see if that. Oh,
Fireball!
How about a Fireball instead?
And this is why you saw all those people snapping up those Circle of Protection reds fairly early during a lot of these packs.
Yeah, great point. There's Forest.
Counterspell.
Original Counterspell. Looking
Beautiful
great.
card.
It's no mana drain, but
Kelvin Warlord. And a Zombie Master. Now, there's not, once again, there's not a lot. And whoa!
that was the fastest fireball.
We didn't even zoom out before that fireball got picked by Dave.
X damage divided
Yeah.
No review period needed for Dave Williams on that one.
Swamp Walk and regenerate for a black.
Remember, he took Soul Ring last pack, too, so
Right.
he's ready to go for that fireball.
So Dave is green. I know he took the Gabriel as well, right? So I know he's base green. He's got the fireball.
Yeah, Keldon
Soul Ring.
Warlord is a star where its power toughness is equal to the number of non-wall creatures you control.
Non-walls. We wouldn't want to count those.
Right.
So,
Well, yeah, they only have to be attacking creatures, right? It is a Warlord after all.
PV gets a Paralyze. That card's going to be great in his deck.
Right.
Finkel gets the Keldon Warlord.
Nice.
not bad.
Good pickup
Yeah.
there.
These boards get stalled, and it's likely to be bigger than anything else. I think he's actually going to be pretty happy with
Is Jason Chan going to take the...
Zombie Master.
Zombie
probably.
Master,
And then
yeah.
Shuhei gets Counterspell.
Wow. Shuhei's got a control deck.
He's got Counterspell and Mana Drain.
He does.
And
Power
Spell
Sync.
Blast.
And Power Sync.
Yeah, and Power Sync.
All the Counterspells.
That's really interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of interaction with that. Like,
Well-
if Shuhei holds one of those hard counters, his opponent's just going to be at the mercy of that. And how many threats does your opponent actually
Right.
have?
Not like people are just not curving out here,
No.
right? So those Counterspells are just going to be trading up for mana often. And like he's not really going to be like, there's not going to be a lot of people with an aggressive deck outside of maybe that mono black deck.
Right. Another good start here, Ironroot Treefolk to kick things off for this next pack. Mountain into Holy Armor. Another Paralyze.
And I think
Tranquility.
Paulo will gladly take all those Paralyzes.
Yeah, for sure.
Lands.
Probably hoping for something slightly better.
There's a Dark Ritual.
Beautiful.
Oh,
boy.
We were just saving all the fireballs for the end. There's a lot of fireballs.
Wow, there really are a lot now.
Yeah.
Whose pick is it?
This is Stan Sifka's pick.
So Sifka is, Juggernaut.
Juggernaut, too. Great colorless option for any deck.
Cursed Land,
Cursed
again,
Land.
another one of those cards from the
Probably
old days
not-
of Magic.
Yeah, not the one you want here.
Is Sifka also red?
Shame and Daytone.
Oh, I'm so jealous right now.
That card is
Now,
fantastic.
hold on a second. Is that card really good here? Because by modern Magic standards, that guy's a little slow.
Look at him slow rolling.
Sivka with
He's
the
like-
sly pick there. But is Jam Daytone, like, that's desirable here, right? We have time to activate that, do we not?
Absolutely. We've seen a lot of expensive threats. We've seen a lot of like clumsy mana bases. I think that this card is going to have a window.
Yeah.
And
to be
there's
activated.
really not a lot of sources of card advantage.
No.
You know, as you can see, there wasn't a lot of enter the battlefield effects. You don't have a lot of that stuff. And this is one of the few ways to just kind of, get
Finkel
ahead on
gets a
cards over
Juggernaut,
time.
by the way, and another Paralyzed did go to Paulo.
You were right.
I
Yeah,
like
he
how
set
Paulo's
that
deck
off.
is coming up. Jason Chan takes the Jam Daytone.
Love
That's
it.
That's,
And remember,
that's-
he
that's
can
a
clean up
great-
the board with Pestilence.
Yeah, that was like a 4th or 5th pick tome. Very,
Yeah.
very strong.
Shuhei eats up Circle of Protection Blue.
Is he playing Paulo round one? I'm not sure, but that is a nice pickup from given that he's blue-white.
Williams takes the Holy Armor, but he also gets...
I feel like everybody has a fireball at this point. Yeah.
Lands are getting taken ahead of Plaguerats.
Aw.
Poor Plaguerats.
Poor Plaguerats, just because it's literally rotting.
Shuhei is playing Sifka in round one, by the way.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's kick off this next pack.
with some lands.
Yes.
But wait.
Merfolk of the Pearl Trident, 1/1 for 1. Okay, so let's get those lands out of the way early here in this pack.
Right. We're just getting them out of the way. And then we're going to have all the excitement here. It's coming after these 1/1s.
I feel it. Dwarven Warriors. Spellblast, okay. Give us another Fireball. I want everybody to have
Fireballs for everybody.
Circle of Protection White, Scathe Zombies.
I want somebody to have the Channel Fireball combo.
Mesa Pegasus.
It's a 2-card combo.
Wall of
Okay,
Water.
we're still... Okay, Wall of Water is probably...
Wall of Fire, opposite.
All right.
There's a Plains.
Plains.
Come on, Island.
Oh, the Rare Island!
Somebody called it,
Somebody
too.
called that.
That
That was
was-
Dave Williams.
Dave just knows, I think.
So as we described earlier, back in the day, there was a sheet of rares that your rare would get chosen from randomly.
Yeah.
And one of the cards on that sheet was an island. So if
that's
you
the
got
rare in this
pretty
pack?
unlucky, that was your rare in the pack.
Oh, wow. And so we recently...
Dave with the called shot.
We recently just had the best pack. This is likely the worst pack that has been opened.
Definitely.
Total power in this pack is 4.
That is
Right?
Well, you can pump up the wall.
All right, that's true.
Pretty low, and a lot of lands here as well.
Yeah. Everybody's like, what do we do?
So that was Scathe Zombies to Paulo.
Yeah, the powerhouse Scathe Zombies going second pick out of this pack.
Also sucking away most of the power and toughness out of the pack.
Yeah.
One pick.
Yeah, Shuhei takes Wall of Water over Spell Blast there.
Yeah, I think Shuhei wants the defensive creatures, and he already has a ton of counter magic.
Yeah, and then the Spell Blast goes to Kibler, who's also a blue player, we think.
Right.
Yeah, he had a bunch of blue and green, and now we've got 5 lands left over, which will go quickly.
Oh, John gets the Rare Island. Fitting.
Last pick rare.
Nice.
Better sleeve that one up.
All right, start with a common island this time.
Yeah. What a pedestrian island.
COP White.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Scathe Zombies.
second pickable.
Let's go, too. He's definitely getting a piece of power now. Watch John.
Blue Blast.
Yeah, blue element.
Oh, there's a
Okay,
Disintegrate.
all right.
There's our card. There's a Disintegrate.
No.
Another Mesa Pegasus. Swamp. Disintegrate sort of looming tall over this pack thus far. Phantasmal Terrain. There's a Herloon Minotaur.
All right.
I like that they felt there needed to be 2 common fireballs in the original core set. Let's just make 2 of them and make them common.
Ooh, Air Elemental. Now there's a bomb. 4/4 flyer for 3 blue.
Ooh,
Oh, my
Orcish
goodness.
also a bomb.
Yes,
Yeah.
this pack just got really interesting. There's a lure. And what's the rare?
And...
Monarch Attorney. This, of course, is another anti-card,
Right.
so this will not be able to be played.
John just snaps up
Wow,
the
Disintegrate
Disintegrate.
didn't
Right.
make it past the Zoom section of our presentation.
Yeah, no.
Once again, the X spell gets taken before the zoom happens.
That's right.
Again-
Pre-Zoom Expel is about the biggest compliment you can give to a card here. Though that Air Elemental is the card I'm looking at.
Oh, yeah.
Ends up in a deck with the Gauntlet of Might.
Oh,
Right.
great point. Yeah, totally. Who gets the Air Elemental?
And then the
Jason-
Orcish Artillery
and the
as
Orcish
well.
Artillery.
Yeah, what's Jason Chan going to take here? He takes Lure,
Yeah. He is
Steal
black
Steal
green.
again.
and then wow, Shuhei Nakamura gets
Ooh,
that.
he's got a
Air
win
Elemental.
condition now.
Yeah,
One of the best ones we've seen opened.
he can also mana drain that into play on like turn 3.
Yeah. Orcish Artillery for Kibler. Is he red?
I don't know, he might just
Is he
have bad.
not
He might just have bad
every
memories of playing against that
Right,
card
right.
with his decks. Williams gets that Mesa Pegasus. Wow, and another
Wow.
cheap black creature for Paulo.
Paulo with 2 Scathe Zombies now. Did he get the Zombie Master by any chance?
I think that went to Amaz.
Yeah,
okay.
Amaz took that.
And that's actually going to do it for that second to last pack of beta, which means we have one more round of beta to open up. And that means that we're going to start right back where we started this whole draft with John Finkel.
Right. So John just opened this pack that we saw, but the wheel turns around and then he gets to open again. So everybody gets to open 5 packs for the first time.
John just wants another red spell
Now,
with,
at this
with
point,
X in it.
you would much rather be first picking, right? You were talking earlier about how the wheel was so important, but now that you know what colors you're in and you have,
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
you just want peak power level. Also, we saw how bad the wheel gets in these beta packs. Speaking of, here's 3 lands and a Grizzly Bears.
Pestilence.
Okay, now there's a powerful card, Pestilence.
There's
Stream
Extreme
of
Life.
there, which is
Oh boy.
not
4
super
lands.
great. Another land.
Pearled Unicorn.
All right, that's a 2/2
The white gray
for
ogre.
3. That's right.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
This is a lot of land. 6?
Yeah, it's 6.
We're at 6 now.
Okay.
Invisibility.
Oh.
Oh, Rod of Ruin's great.
Hey,
Strong.
that the little pinger now, that's a mono artifact, meaning you can only use it once.
7 lands.
And look at how excited we got about Rod of Ruin, and then look at Pestilence.
8 lands.
Eight
Don't
lands.
island me. Don't
Oh
show me
my
that
goodness.
island. Oh,
Winter Orb.
Winter Orb. Who wants to have no fun at all?
I think Paulo might want to have no fun at all.
Yeah.
It's very, very possible.
He's
It's
got
also
cheap
quite powerful.
removal in terms of Paralyze.
Right.
Paralyze plays very well into Winter Orb.
Yeah.
I don't know. That might be the. Well, he's got to take the Pestilence.
Is John? We know he's base red, and then it's unclear if he's black or green.
He might be both.
I think he's black. I mean, the thing is, if he's not, then he could consider just taking the Rod of Ruin, of course. But Pestilence might be so strong, he might just look to take that. John is thinking a little here.
Yeah, there's no. We got to zoom out fully and
Right.
linger.
Yeah.
Card's still on the table.
Pestilence might also just kind of. John might just have a bunch of small red creatures in his deck.
He's taking the
So,
Rod of Ruin.
oh,
no, he's
Nope.
taking the Pestilence. See him psyching out.
And
Paulo.
these picks are super important because there's
Right.
8 lands in this pack. Like right now we're there's only 2 more playables left
right.
and they're gone.
Also, do you really want to, give Pestilence to somebody else on the table? It's such a hard card to beat.
Right.
Of course not. Yeah.
Let's go, boys. Grab 'em, let's go, let's go.
All right, this pack's going to finish quite quickly.
Just remember, though, back when beta packs were out there, this was how you got your lands. You were pretty excited to open these lands back when you first started playing Magic.
I'll tell you what, I'm pretty excited to open them now.
Oh, yeah.
There's Prodigal Sorcerer.
And this might be, we did see this in a previous pack with Prodigal Sorcerer being first.
That's right. Very, very
And
powerful.
that was
Is
by
this-
Paulo, right?
Right.
This would be Paulo's second Prodigal
So
Sorcerer.
this might be a similar run out that we've seen in the previous one. Giant Growth.
Gibbler's like, please, oh, please. There's the Sea Serpent we've talked about a bunch.
Only 2. I like it.
A lot of Plague Rats.
There
What if you
are.
just
Much
get? What if
more
you
Someone
just
should
get
have
all of
cornered
them?
the market.
How many Plague Rats do you need before you put them in your deck? 8? 10?
3.
Oh, just draw.
There's a Scavenging Ghoul.
Okay.
Ooh, Ice Storm.
Ice Storm.
Ice Storm, and the rare is
Smoke.
Smoke
All right.
makes it harder to untap your creatures, right? Yeah.
right.
One creature.
So
Yeah, it's kind of like a Winter Orb for creatures.
Okay.
yeah. If you're maybe a more defensive-minded
if,
deck,
if you're not in a hurry.
yeah. So,
So
give-
Paulo's going to get another Prodigal Sorcerer. Is that?
yeah, so he's got to be very happy about
Yeah.
this pick. They definitely
Wow.
stack very well together
He's
too.
got, he's got 2, and they're really good in multiples. So extremely powerful. Giant Growth goes to Dave.
And keep in mind, he also picked up that Rod of Ruin.
Mm.
Yeah.
He's got 2 Prodigal Sorcerers plus Rod of Ruin in his deck.
Wow. That's a lot of damage to throw around, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that kills most of the creatures that we've seen.
Right.
Ice
Oh.
Storm to Jason Chan.
Oh, maybe you board those in against all these people splashing their fireballs. Just Ice Storm their mountain.
Totally. Everybody has a fireball.
You see, Finkel has no interest in smoke.
Right.
Yeah, I like where Paulo's at with all this damage to kill small creatures plus a bunch of paralyzes to at least really slow down the big stuff. There's another Grizzly Bears and a few more mountains.
3 lands.
Yeah, one of One of each for Mark.
Oh boy,
This is
another
a
pestilence.
lot of pestilences.
Just an ugly card too.
Oh,
Yeah.
nasty. There's an Earthbind. Another
See how
good
far-
sideboard card, and there's Pearled Unicorn.
So most lands we've seen in the pack was 8.
That's going to be hard to beat.
Here's weakness, a situational removal card.
White Ward.
Lay Druid. All right.
Little ramp.
Got the Uncommon Island.
Looks like it.
And
Ooh,
Howling Mine.
Howling Mine, not super great, right?
No.
It doesn't change if we reduce the power level on average of our cards. It's still just us paying a card so that we can both.
Right, right.
But maybe if you're looking to run your opponent out of cards with your Millstone.
Okay, well,
Yeah, yeah.
you would be able to get ahead in that.
If you are highly confident that the rest of your deck is very high in power level, maybe you just want to draw them. I don't know.
That's interesting. Although you're kind of reducing your deck's power level to do so.
That's
maybe
true.
Shuhei takes White Ward.
If you have a lot of burn spells in your deck, maybe.
Yeah. Finkel takes the Earthbind. There's Howling Mine to Apollo, and he's going to pick up the Pearled Unicorn as well. And now we're into the land section. Got 5 more packs to go here. See if we'll open maybe a piece of history, something exciting.
Yeah. One of the
This is
the
Dave
Power
Williams'
9.
pick now.
Yeah,
Evan-
Power 9 would be sweet.
I'd like to see an Ancestral.
what's there was a Bird of Paradise. That's
Island.
that is a nice story.
Oh,
wow,
wow.
4 for 4.
All right, our
Okay.
record is 8. Samite Healer, though. That card's good.
Yeah.
Alright,
Drain
there's a
Life.
Drain Life.
Life, too.
Wow, black seems really. You have Draining Life and Pestilence at common,
Yeah, that's insane. Regenerate.
and red has the 2 Fireball effects. So
Uh-oh, land number 5.
They wanted ways to end the game.
right.
Here's
Okay.
a lightning bolt. I wanted iconic, and I got it there. One of the most iconic cards ever.
Land 6. 7.
Uh-oh, we're creeping up.
8.
Land 8.
Nope.
Tunnel.
Destroy a wall.
Oh, I like
Control.
Control
Oi,
a
oi,
lot.
oi.
Very, very, very solid creature.
There's a
Okay,
land.
and then we
if
got the
it's an
rare.
island.
The rare.
Oh, personal
Ooh.
incarnation. Pinky.
That is a bomb. That is a very strong creature, relative to, of course, this format here. But taking a look at this pack, you have Drain Life, Bolt, Troll, and the Incarnation. Those are all the strong cards. The healer is okay.
So who is in white that can actually cast a personal incarnation in any reasonable
Shuhei?
time frame?
Shuhei, David Williams,
Because
and Dave Williams first picks it.
So Dave Williams
Yeah.
is green, white, splashing red for the fireball.
yeah, you can see what it does on the right side. That's actually older text as well, though. It's you can pay 0 the next 1 damage that would be dealt to personal incarnation.
Yeah.
This turn is dealt to its owner instead, but only only you can activate that. And then if it dies, its owner loses half their life rounded up. But here's the deal. It's a 6/6 for 6. You
Yeah.
don't get that kind of power and toughness in this set as we've
Right.
seen.
It is huge.
See the
Wow,
players
I feel
fighting
like
over
Dave's
which
win
land.
percentage just went up like 5% on that one pick or something.
Right, right.
That's
No,
a huge
he
pick.
has a very high power level. Keep in
Yeah.
mind, he also got the Soul Ring second pick.
Yes. I wonder what his colors are. Like if he's into 3 or if it's just going to be a 2-color deck. But boy,
I think he's likely going to be.
Disintegrate.
I think he's likely going to be green, white, splash, red, and probably plays like 18 lands with the
Okay.
Soul Ring.
okay. There's a disintegrate. Players are teasing each other. There's the Herloon Minotaur. Kibler's having a good time.
Wow.
Another terror.
Terror, this is a good pack.
Just looking at this, the power level of the red and black
Knight.
spells just seem to dwarf all the other comments. It
Life
seems like
Force.
black and red is where you want to be.
Definitely. That was also the conclusion of other players. Let's see if we can get something big here.
Stone Giant is a way
Stone
to
Giant
end the game.
and Will-O-the-Wisp.
All right. Blocks everything.
I do like that card.
You can put an Unholy Strength on that one, too. Hey, look, the X spell got taken.
Yeah. In case you were wondering about your beta
Right.
pick orders.
Yeah.
Kibler gets a life force.
It was Raph that got the X spell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now
If Kibler's up against PV, that life force is pretty spicy.
Shuhei Nakamura
Yes.
takes a terror there. Might splash it.
And then Black
White
Knight
deck.
went next.
Stone Giant for John.
Oh, great pickup for PV. Will the Wisp like
Definitely.
6 pick?
And does PV have a Pestilence?
He
never-
got the
No,
Rod
no.
of Ruin.
You got the Rod of Ruin. John
Because
got
Will o' the Wisp
Pestilence.
is a thing with Pestilence, right? Like, you
Yeah.
can keep it out there forever?
Yeah, for every 2 mana you spend, you can activate Pestilence and regenerate Will-O-the-Wisp.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
Because it goes away if you don't have any creatures left. And
Right.
right. Bolt.
There's a bolt.
Bolt. Oh, I love that artwork.
Frozen Shade, okay.
Oh, another
Okay,
big fat
there's some
crawler.
power. Yep.
Big creature. Might need to pick some of those up with all the fireballs running around.
No kidding. Whoever's in blue is going to have their eyeball on that.
For example, I don't think Paulo has that much counter magic.
Yeah, Shuhei
It might
seems to
be-
have the market
right.
cornered pretty well on that.
What is
Oh, that's Dwarven
Demolition Team?
Demolition Team. Yeah. Celestial Prism.
Berserk.
Berserk.
And the rare?
Oh, another rare eye.
Oh!
Dave didn't call this one.
Did we use up all our luck in Chiba?
Perhaps, perhaps.
Is Island the only rare land, or is it just that it coincides? Okay. They knew.
Unstable Mutation Berserk for Kibler
Is Berserk
potentially.
the type of card you want? Like, it's a one-shot that gets in a ton of damage, but you lose your creature. That's normally not worth the trade-off, but
Right.
this isn't a normal format.
Right. If you get to, I mean, I think just by itself it's not great, but if you get to combo it with cards like Giant Growth, you can just get
Howl.
people out of nowhere. There is Howl from Beyond. Or-
Unstable Mutation.
right. There's also just Crawworm, right? So
Actions on Ryan Kibler.
You heard it.
Yeah, but Kibler's going to take that lightning bolt for sure.
Keeping it simple. And Shuhei
he's like,
took
I
that
see all
blue
these
light.
fireballs. I am taking
He's
this.
like, I've got enough counters to protect myself, but boy,
Yeah.
every round, if he gets past his first, he's going to be facing down fireball.
Here's see what Jason Chan takes here. Maybe that Frozen Shade.
I think he's taking Crawworm. Also, to be fair, it is literally the only blue or white spell in the pack for Shuhei.
Ooh, he takes Berserk.
Berserk.
Over
Interesting.
Crawworm?
Wow.
And John, who's been in gemmed colors, is going to take a happily scoop up
Wow,
that Crawworm.
Yeah.
And Paulo could not be more thrilled to see that Frozen Shade in his
Right.
deck.
Yep.
Sorry, bud. I'm sorry.
I think they might be teasing him a little.
Can't do it. Did you get 2? Yeah.
Mana fixing. Mana fixing.
Yeah. And here goes the lands.
And they just take the last couple lands there. 2 more packs.
2 more packs to go.
All right.
Oh, it's
here we
not a
go.
land.
Kind of. It's Phantasmal
Sinkhole.
Terrain. No lands. There's one.
I wonder if there is somebody with like a near mono black deck. There does seem to be a good amount of mono black payoffs.
Unsummon. Psychic Venom next. Holy
Strength.
Strength. All right.
It's the first Holy Strength we've seen, I think.
Yeah, there's another Raised Dead. Guess who's back? Forest. Creature Bond. Not a card we anticipate seeing on the battlefield. There's a disenchant.
That's a
Now,
card
that's
you
a
want to
card
make
can
sure
play.
you have in your pile.
Definitely. Green Ward.
Ooh.
Oh, hippie. Hypnotic Spectre.
Doesn't get more iconic than that.
No, it really doesn't.
And
Unless this one is more iconic than that.
oh, okay.
Demonic Hordes.
Demonic Horde.
That is a big one.
That's a 5/5 for 6.
5 tap to destroy a land,
And you can
Yeah.
blow up lands with it.
or the hordes become tapped, and your opponent gets to kill one of your lands. The horde.
Yeah, so it does have an upkeep cost of black, which you must pay, but this can slowly but surely take over the game. You can just get rid of all the lands that your opponents have.
Or you can turn
You
it
could
sideways.
just, I was going to say, you could just attack for 5.
Yeah.
Although I think I would prefer the Hypnotic Spectre still here.
Full card name.
I don't know. I actually don't know the answer to this. You're probably right. I mean, I assume the more efficient card, is better. But boy, I do put a real premium on raw power here, more than I normally would. I wonder which one's better. I mean, we won't know. We're not playing this format, but I would probably lean towards Hypnotic like you would.
I like
Paul.
the evasion too.
Me too.
Right.
But
Jason
boy,
Chan
Demonic
takes the
Horde
Wow, Jason
is
Chan's
really
deck.
good. And John just snaps off the hordes. Sinkhole for PV, but that's probably not where he wants to be.
Yeah.
Two great black cards, and they both get taken right ahead of Paulo Vitor Damarosa.
I think I like Jason Chan and Paulo's deck and Shuhei's deck the best so far. I'm not sure if Shuhei has enough creatures.
Yeah.
Who cares?
But
Right.
yeah.
He has Air Elemental. He has Air Elemental. I
Air
think.
Elemental, Mana Drain. That's all you need to know.
Dave does have a lot of bombs too. He's got the
Absolutely.
personal incarnation. He has
Does
he
he,
has the
does he also
fireball.
have the Thunder Spirits?
He does have Soul Ring. He has multiple banding elephants.
He does. I think didn't he also get the green-red legend from Legends?
He might have.
No, sorry, the green-white legend.
Why is it? Are we just hoping for this Black Lotus?
This is
Look
our
at
This is our
spotter
last
This is the
shot.
last pack.
This is our last chance to open something fantastic.
Someone on
the
Child
right
Play
tool is
Charity.
calling
There's
their
Giant
shot.
Spider.
I mean, might as well call the biggest shot, the most iconic.
You hear the
Magic card
players
of all
saying
time.
it too.
Lots of lands. Everybody wants to see one.
Everybody knows about the Black Lotus.
Samite Healer. Drain Life. So good pack with the Drain Life and a Giant Spider in it.
Ooh.
Wall of
Swords.
Swords. That thing's tough to get through. Has more power. Library of
Library of
Lang
Lang.
than most of the creatures.
And here we go, the last rare.
Come on, hit
Last
me.
rare.
Something great.
Is it Black Lotus time?
Yes! Probably the best creature in the whole set.
Yes, we were talking about what is the card you want to open the most in terms of just raw power level, and I think Shivan Dragon is it.
Oh, and that is super iconic, a piece of Magic history.
Yeah.
When Magic first came out, this was easily the most popular card by a mile.
Absolutely.
Nobody cared about Black Lotus. Everybody wanted that.
That was the
They would
fish
take
hook.
multiple Black Lotuses to trade for a Shivan Dragon back in the day.
That was the fish hook in my cheek when I was opening up Unlimited
That was the
packs.
one?
That was
Yeah.
the card. Absolutely. I'm like,
Oh,
oh, look at this.
Shivan
Shivan
exciting.
Dragon. Now, who gets it? Where are we at here? I mean, everybody's splashing for Fireball.
This is Jason Chan's pick.
And he is currently splashing red. I don't know how easy it would be for him to cast a Shivan Dragon. It might be worth it. Oh, and he's taking it!
Boy,
Nice.
you got to do it.
Nice.
Chaos. Don't say chaos.
He's like going to play like 5 mountains, maybe? Like
Oh, my goodness sakes.
the old 7/7/5 mana base? I don't know.
God, it might be worth it, though. Shivan Dragon would be a bomb in current level limited.
Right.
And that puts it so far above everything else for this time frame.
Is Dave Williams going to get a Wall of Swords
Oh,
here?
Dave said this is tough. It's between Giant Spider and Wall of Swords, I believe. As he is white-green splashing red.
Got to be the Spider, right? Can attack.
I don't know. If he feels like he has enough finishers, he might want just the better defensive body in the Wall of Swords.
Wall of Swords is impossible
It
to
is
get through.
impossible to
He
attack.
Yeah.
does take the Wall of Swords.
Raph snaps off that Spider. There's Library of Lang, but really, we're kind of at the end of the pack here. There's nothing really left.
It's one of the best wheels we've seen.
Semi-Healer, though.
That was a great wheel for Shuhei, actually.
Yeah, it
Semi
really
healer and a circle of protection.
You're right. That was great. All right.
Wow.
Boy, that was fun.
That was.
When are we doing this again?
25 years.
How many extra beta
I'll be here.
And fittingly,
And
John Finkel takes
John
the
takes
last
it.
island.
Yeah, that's a beautiful end to our Silver Showcase draft. We are not bringing you the rounds today. Those are going to be shown to you over the course of the next 3 days in conjunction with our Pro Tour coverage for Pro Tour 25th anniversary. But guys, wasn't that fun?
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
yeah. That was
Memories?
exciting.
You get teary-eyed over there, BDM, thinking about all those old school cards?
Yeah, absolutely. Hypnotic Spectre and Shivan Dragon were huge nostalgia swings for me. But
Yeah.
I mean, I love seeing a Shahrazad. I really do. I mean, I understand that no one's going to play it, but that's just one of those super quirky, you know, break the rules that we've just set up in this first year of Magic cards that made the game so exciting and so like anything could happen. People could bring anything to the tournament. The first time you see a card like that, it just, you know, kind of bends your mind, right? So I was super excited to see that. I think that's my highlight.
What stood out for you, Paul?
The Bird of Paradise.
Yeah.
My very first Friday Night Magic was a 3-color Bird of Paradise Spirit Monger Urza's Rage deck that a friend lent me, and it was just like all good cards, but the bird was just like the key to that deck, and I was like, man, this card is just awesome. And then I just kept playing it as long as it was legal and standard.
Yeah, once I saw that Millstone hit, I was...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love that one. All right, well, thanks so much for joining us for our draft here for the Silver Showcase. Again, we're going to bring you the matches over the course of the weekend. For now, we're going to take a short commercial break. We'll be back after that.
The game I fell in love with, I want people to experience in many different possible ways. And one of the things that I want to see is it express itself in a modern sensibility, in the way that people are playing now. And that part of that is going digital. Like, I love tabletop, and we'll continue to make a tabletop game, but we really want to bring out the best experience, the Magic experience, the electrifying thing that made me fall in love with the game. We want to have people play that in a digital form.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the news desk here. After bit of history, the Silver Showcase draft has happened. Rich Hain alongside Simon Gertzen. But without further ado, down on the floor is one of the players who had the opportunity to work through so many iconic cards. Here's Brian David Marshall with Paolo Vita Dama da Rosa.
drafting this format?
I mean, it was very interesting. It was different than anything I've ever done. I played Rochester Draft for like a year before it stopped existing and never at a very high level. And I've never played with the beta cards or Legends or Arabian Nights. So it was two things that I've never done before attached to this event that is also different from anything I've played before. So it was a very unique experience on all accounts.
Now, you said before the draft that you liked black and red when you were playtesting. Obviously, tons of removal, tons of ways to win a game. How do you feel like the draft went for you?
I think it went so-so. I think my deck is okay. I think is good against Keeblers, who is my round 1 opponent. It's very weak to cards like Pestilence, Pyrokinesis, Fireball, which there were a lot in the draft. They're all common. So I kind of at some point decided, okay, I'm going to build a deck to beat my first round opponent because I'm probably not going to beat another opponent if they have a good deck. So it was kind of like I had to wobble between aggressive and defensive, and I don't really know how it turned out, but I think it's good.
Now, there was a point in the draft where you had a pretty big decision that involved a counterspell. Tell me about that pick.
Yeah, it was Counterspell versus Paralyze. I think Counterspell is a much better card. And, you know, in general, I would always say Counterspell. Paralyze is not even that good, but I thought that for the deck I had against the deck that Keebler had, Paralyze would probably be better, especially because I didn't really want to be heavy blue. I have Frozen Shade. I was hoping to get Frozen Shades and Drain Lives later on, and so I just took the Paralyze and tried to, find my wins where I could. I don't know if that was right or not, but I hope I don't end up regretting it.
All right, well, we'll see. We're going to let you go and register your cards and do all that fun stuff that you have to do after draft, and then we'll be back tomorrow and we'll see how this plays out when you face off against Brian Kibler.
Yeah, that's going to be completely extraordinary. Two Hall of Famers facing off as they did in the Pro Tour Final 6 years ago. Now, we know that many of you watch the Pro Tours for strategic insight, and we know that many of you are desperate to work out how to win your next Beta, Legends, Antiquities, Arabian, Beta draft. And here to tell you is Simon Gertzen. Simon, we decided that we would focus in on the greatest of all time, Johnny Magic, John Finkel, and we're going to take a look at how his draft shapes up across the 5 packs. So 40 packs opened in total, but the first 8 of those were beta. So why don't we take a look at his first 15 picks, and it opens up with Gauntlet of Might. There we see it on screen for you. And what stands out from the first run of boosters, Simon?
So John was in the position to actually first pick from the very first booster that was being opened. And that is really good because you can dominate the table in a way. You can tell them, I want to be these colors, I want to be this strategy. And Gauntlet of Might, even though it's an artifact, it tells your neighbors, I want to be in red, stay out of red. Red is a great removal color, and it has some threats that are even getting boosted with the Gauntlet. So I think this pick was a really good start to the draft.
Right, it's a colorless card, but it is not colorless in its function.
Exactly. No, if you pick Gauntlet of Might, you are signaling, I want to be a red drafter at this table.
Now, Ironclaw Orcs have been part of some very successful constructed decks over a period of time, over many years in the game. And here, they're going to be really rock solid, a 2/2 with actually upside. Just great.
So what I like to think about when looking at this kind of format, it's the threat density of all these decks is really, really low. And there are quite a few answers. You see Terra, for example, on this graphic. And what you want to do is you want to either have your Shivan Dragons yourself, or you need to find ways to make cards like Ironclaw Orcs that are really not spectacular better than they are. And that's where Gauntlet of Might, but also Orcish Oriflame come in. And suddenly, all this makes a lot of sense for John's strategy.
Okay, let's move on to pack number 2. Now, this was Legends, so we're expecting to see some fairly unusual cards here. We got a Marholt Elves Dragon there, Wall of Dust backdrop. Again, what stands out in pack 2? Is it that Chain Lightning down near the bottom?
Chain Lightning, I think Pyrotechnics is even better as a removal spell.
Mm-hmm.
Just being able to distribute the damage is huge.
And especially 4 damage, like to modern players, that sounds like Electrify, that kills a 3/4.
A 2-drop
but
or a
here,
3-drop.
Right, but here what it's doing is very likely hoovering up at least 2 creatures, maybe 3. We may even see the whole 4 done. There's a lot of
absolutely.
1 toughness.
So what I like to see here is that Finkel manages to pick up some beefy creatures from the Legends pack. Also, we see him dabbling into black, but the fact that it's double black cards makes me think that this is more of a defensive draft. I have John marked as being a red-green drafter at this table.
All right, so then we get our middle pack, which of course comes from 2 sets, Antiquities and Arabian Nights. So here they are. This is how he combined those for you. Seeing there were tons of rook eggs around, there were plenty of curd apes around, double battering ram he got here. Also a little bit of flying with Bird Maiden. But what did you see that made you think, yeah, that was good news?
Yeah, I would say this pack was probably the weakest. I like the curd apes for the curve, but in such a low-powered format, tempo is not going to be as important. It's going to be interesting to see whether we see a battering ram and banding make an appearance.
Isn't 2-3 quite big?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
I mean, a curd ape isn't just good on turn 1 as a 2-3, it's just a 2-3 is good.
It's massive. Yeah.
Right, okay, so good news there. Then we came back to beta. Pack number 4 was our second pack of beta, so let's see how he did there. Big 6-4 Crawlworm and X-Spells. Well, X-Spells have always ended the game, and there were plenty flying around as we sort of headed back into beta.
The card you want most in this format, I think, is still Fireball. But Disintegrate is really good because it does also allow you to just kill players if the game goes long. Now, actually, Mana Sinks in general are just really powerful, the weaker a format is.
Right, so just the ability, a Mana Sink, the ability to push your cards, just all of your land into a particular card. So a Fireball, if you've got 9 land, great, that's Fireball for 8.
Yeah, something that's really cool from this pack, by the way, Living Lands turns forests into 1/1 creatures.
Right.
And Keldon Warlord cares for how many creatures you control.
Ew.
I don't know if that's going to make the deck,
Okay.
but it's a really nice combo.
All right, so then we get our final set, which again was beta, and here is beta pack 3. Simon, what's going on here?
Some more black cards, but Pestilence and of course Demonic Horde. I don't think we will see John play black cards. Maybe he could think about splashing the Terror, but that really depends on his mana consistency and how many playables he has. I kind of like this False Orders. It's the second one he's picked up, and his opponents will all know about it. But it's still quite a powerful card given that how old it is.
Because you mess with blockers, right? They get to block, and then you either make your creature unblocked, or you can send their blocker to a different attacker.
And even if I tell you I have it, what are you going to do about it? Not block? You have to somehow walk into it.
Okay, so overall, you'd be happy enough in his seat. He's got a red-green deck. It certainly doesn't look like a train wreck, so good starting.
Yes, I think if you can have that high of a threat density, have that much removal, and be in red-green, you have to be happy after such a draft.
All right, well, our 8 players in the Silver Showcase will be back tomorrow to do battle with the decks they draft in the building right now. They'll be back tomorrow after round 7 of the Pro Tour. That sounds like 2 magic words, because part of $1 Million Magic is the biggest Pro Tour in Magic history. And we're going to have our live Pro Tour preview right after this.